find out. All right, good evening everyone and welcome to this regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Fort Walton Beach. Thank you all very much for being here. If you do have an electronic device, if you could please check it, make sure it's on silent, that would be fantastic, as we need concentration in these proceedings oftentimes. We'll call this meeting to order and we'll begin with an invocation from Reverend Dr. Roger Pedro, chaplain of the Westminster Manor, and then if you'll continue to stand if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance.
May we pray. Loving, gracious God, we pray for our elected officials here as they discuss agenda, providing insight, wisdom, representing our community. We thank you for this opportunity to do such business in our community, and we thank you for the many, many blessings that we enjoy. Thank you for always watching over us and for being with us in whatever we face on our journey, and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Reverend. Council, we need a motion for approval of the agenda tonight.
Mr. Mayor, move to approve the agenda with the item 13.2 to be moved up to after council comments.
Motion by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilwoman DeBerry to approve tonight's agenda with the one minor change of moving item 13.2 directly after council comments, which is item 9, specifically after item 9.8. Any further comments?
Yes, sir.
Council, please vote. Does pass unanimously, which brings us to item 5, proclamations, and we have one here for the American Red Cross. I know, do we have two representatives, Nick Evans and Terry Jenkins, from the board?
I think it's just me.
Just you, Nick. All right. Well, step on up to the microphone and I'll tell everyone about the great work that you do at the American Red Cross. The City of Fort Walton Beach proudly recognizes the Northwest Florida Red Cross chapter for its leading role in bringing support to communities in need. The Red Cross delivers disaster relief, blood supplies for cancer patients, 24/7 global support for military families, and teaches CPR skills to empower more people with the ability to save lives. During the month of March, the American Red Cross celebrates 145 years of Americans rising to the occasion to provide hope and care to members of this nation and the planet. Recognizing these local heroes for their efforts to uplift others in times of emergency is a testament to the strength of our community through our shared commitments to one another. In recognition of their commitment to hope, care, and community service, I proclaim the month of March as American Red Cross Month for the City of Fort Walton Beach and encourage citizens to reach out and support their humanitarian mission. Nick Evans from the board, would you like to add anything to that?
Just would like to say thank you for that recognition and stuff. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us.
Well, thank you. And if you would like, we would like a picture with you.
Absolutely. So
step on up here, hold this proclamation. We're all going to stand up, scoot in, and we'll get a nice photograph with you that you can display proudly. That's going to be a good one. Appreciate you seeing it. Thank you. All right, moves us to item 6, recognitions. And we have two fantastic students here with us tonight. The first one is Zachary Bewick. Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Oh, no! See, I always ask the guys around me, and they always weigh in, and we were almost unanimous that it was Bewick, but I'm wrong.
No, it's Buick, like the car.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Okay. Do you go by Zach or Zachary?
Usually Zach.
Okay, Zach, step up to the podium. If you got mom or dad with you, we'll want them for a photo here in just a moment. Let me tell everybody about you, though, Zach. Mr. Zach Buick exemplifies civic excellence through his exceptional academic performance, extensive extracurricular activities, and athletic achievements. With a 4.63 weighted GPA, Zach is a student of the International Baccalaureate and Advanced Placement programs with primary interest in civil and mechanical engineering. His academic honors include membership in the National Honor Society and Indian Scholar. He was honored to be selected as an Air Force Research Lab Scholar intern at Eglin Air Force Base from over 2,000 applicants. Zach's extracurricular activities and athletic achievements include being a 4-year starter on the Choctaw men's varsity soccer team and serving as captain of the Emerald Coast Rush Club soccer team. Congrats, man. Tell us your plans for the future, if any.
I plan to attend University of Florida and study civil engineering.
Nice, that's fantastic, dude. If you will come up here and take a photo with us, if mom or dad wants to get in the photo as well, or anybody else that you may have brought with you, that you'd like in this photo.
Looking good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations. And we have one more fantastic student with us tonight, Keely Kleppinger. Did I get that one right? Look at me. All right, come on up to the podium there. Ms. Keely Kleppinger demonstrates civic excellence through outstanding academic achievement, robust extracurriculars, and numerous awards. With a weighted GPA of 4.72 and a class rank of 6, she's excelled in numerous dual enrollment courses while also being recognized with the Ann T. Mitchell Viking Scholar Award and membership in the National Honor Society and Beta Club. As a member of the women's varsity team, Keely served as team captain for 2 years and earned District Player of the Year honors for 3 straight seasons. That's awesome. Additionally, she's certified in Autodesk and obtained her pre-engineering industrial certification. Her dedication, intellect, and commitment to enriching her school and community exemplify the highest standards of civic responsibility. Congratulations, Keely.
Thank you.
Tell us about your future plans.
I plan to attend UCF, Central Florida, and I plan to major in aerospace engineering.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's awesome. If you want to come up here, if you have mom or dad with you, or anyone else that you want in the picture, you can have the police chief in the photo if you want. It's the only picture you get with him that's a good one.
Looking good. 1, 2, 3. One more. All right, thank you.
Hey, congratulations.
Your name's not what you do.
Buick. Who'd have ever thought? B-E-W-I-C-K. That was a tough one. All right. That brings us to item 7, presentations, and we'll start with a presentation here from the local chapter of the NAACP, Okaloosa County Branch 5633. Our good friend Sabu. I called you Mr. last time, and you were very put off by it. So
Yes, I'd like to be much
Sabu
more
tonight.
informal, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Amen. Thank you for having us here tonight. Certainly, I'm Sabu Williams, the president of the local NAACP, and we're back for our presentation that we promised you the last time we met that we would have ready for you tonight. I've got one of the things that I did when you said, Sabu, go ahead and do what you're going to do. And I said, well, we're going to get a group of people together and bring you back a presentation. I made sure I got some folks together who were much smarter than me. And so, in doing so, I'm going to have them actually be the presenters. But I think if you open the screen, you'll see what we want to talk about a proposal of developing or changing Fort Walton Beach, if you will, to a representative form of governance. Representative meaning somebody who represents communities and neighborhoods who I can touch and go to and say, hey, look, you know, I've got a pothole here, can you get it fixed? Or we need this, we need that. We talked about all the reasons why we thought it was a good idea for the most part, but I want to have them share a much more academic reasons. And so in doing so, I'm going to ask Misty Pounder to come and talk to you about why we're making this recommendation. And then she'll be followed by a young man by the name of Monsieur Wallace, who has helped us sort of create a vision for what that might look like, if you will. And then we'll just wrap up and try to get out your hair. Amen? All right. Mr. Wallace?
Ms. Pounder.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. If you want to go ahead and flip slide. Okay, so basically the proposal that we're going to go over tonight is to amend the city charter, a request that you guys amend the city charter to change from the 7 at-large city council seats to a system of 4 single-member districts or zones and 3 at-large seats with an at-large mayor remaining. Next slide. So this is what we're going to go over tonight. I'll do the current city council structure, the proposed changes. I'm also going to compare to municipalities in the surrounding area. And also, Mr. Wallace is going to show you a map proposal. Again, what we're going to ask for today will not include our map, but just an idea of how we think we can break this out fairly. And then, of course, we'll open it up to questions. Next slide, please. Okay, so the current council structure, for those that aren't aware, is at 7 at-large council members and an at-large mayor. Next, please. One more. So the advantages of that is, one person, one vote, so every voter casts ballots for each seat with intent to promote citywide cohesion. Unfortunately, there's some disadvantages that have come about from having a 7 at-large council members. And those are going to be, you're going to have a lack of a dedicated representative who champions the specific needs of a community of interest. And Mr. Wallace will kind of break down a little bit more what those community of interest are, but they're going to have this shared population and shared interest. And it may include fostering a dominant political faction to arise to win all seats. It limits that adequate citywide representation. And it can lead to underserved neighborhoods, which is kind of close to my heart for where I live, and reduce accountability when I don't have a representative that I can go to that I know understands my neighborhood. And lastly, it can have higher campaign costs for those underdog grassroots candidates when you do not have a district or zone system. So what we're proposing is to do a 4-zone and 3 at-large seats, plus remain the at-large mayor. So the advantages that we have researched on this is it does guarantee that community of interest in neighborhood representation. There are clear accountability and strong constituent relationships. So the person who you're going to go to ask about the changes that you want to see or the things that you want is someone who understands your neighborhood, who lives where you're at, and can be that voice and accountable partner. And then, of course, always the broader range of views and perspectives. When we get to the maps, you'll see you've got people, waterfront versus people that are in an industrial area, kind of a varied situation. So you want to have that broad range of perspectives. And then, of course, it's going to be a steadier governance and political stability. And it just promotes fair and equitable distribution of city services. This is not to say that the city doesn't do a great job with the services and is fair to every citizen, but it just allows for the voices to come up that represent each of those districts to ensure that equitable distribution. And then, of course, we want to talk about the disadvantages of such a system. The main one is going to be a hyper-local focus. So if you just have your district, you may not see the bigger picture for the surrounding city areas, but we plan on avoiding that by keeping the 3 at-large seats. And of course, Fort Walton Beach, as we all know, it shares a lot of commonality of interest as a collective. It's not hard to get from one side of the town to the other. We all use the same natural resources. We enjoy the same areas. So we still all have an interest in all of Fort Walton. Okay, next slide. So again, Mr. Wallace is going to go into more detail about his work on the maps, but I just wanted to go over some of the important parts about this, so the legalities. So this is all developed from public law, from the census block data. And we do stick to, in our proposal, the city's 11 traditionally recognized neighborhoods are considered in our final breakout of the zones. And our proposed zones, of course, have those neighborhood boundaries. They do take into account the Community Redevelopment Agency district lines, which is very important. Again, that's close to my heart. It does have to consider the major roads, natural features that separate the areas, and again, uses a communities of interest methodology. In regards to what we've proposed in the charter would be that it remains the current schedule of the 2 4-year staggered terms for council seats, with the council determining how to transition into this new representation. And then Mr. Wallace again will go over the maps in more detail. It's very defensible. We're using the law, we're sticking to the guidelines of public law, the Constitution, Florida regulation to get the proper representation of population. Okay, and so lastly, just that comparison of the municipalities around us. The top one that's going to be very similar is how it's structured for Crestview. They have 3 members who are elected from 3 different districts, north, central, and south, and they also have 2 elected at large, so very similar to what we're proposing. And then, of course, you have some that do like Fort Walton, where it's just all at-large seats. We also have another city that is doing what we're proposing, which is Milton, very smaller population of people, but it does include those specific wards that you must be in to represent, even though they're all voted at large. And I want to foot stomp. When we talk about district seats, anyone can vote on anyone that's a candidate, but you must live within the district that you're in. So, you know, you're not going to have to be voting on just your district representative. All the population will be able to vote on all of these positions, just that the candidate will have to live in that zone. Okay, and next would be, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Wallace to kind of go over, again, our proposed maps. This is just what we think is the most fair representation to present as an idea for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pounder. Mr. Wallace?
Good evening. I'm Mr. Wallace, and I'm here today to speak with you about the proposed zones. And before I start, I do want to say that the proposal is just hypothetical. There hasn't been anyone to decide on if we should have 4 zones, 5, 6, or 7. And so what I wanted to do was just give a concept of what would be viable when we decided to do this, if we are going to do it. The first thing that I wanted to do in order to get a good view of Fort Walton was I went directly to the PL 94-171 files. They're from the 2020 census. From those files, you have what's called a tiger shape file. You have decennial files, and you have place files. The PL is public law, and we look for TP 12, that's Florida. From those files, I extracted Okaloosa. From Okaloosa, I extracted Fort Walton. I created what's called a GeoID. What that does is, on your map, you have squares. And every little square represents a block. So within that block, I can tell you the demographic, the race, Hispanic, non-Hispanic, who they voted for. And it helped me keep communities of interest all lined up when coming with the zones. The main thing you want to do is make sure nothing is fragmented. You want to make sure you keep your community of interest intact. And then from there, you can have a defensible map when drawing the maps. Now again, it's hypothetical and conceptual, but what we came up with was with 4 zones for now. And there's 11 neighborhoods in Fort Walton. And what I wanted to do was keep the neighborhoods together as close as possible and use natural roadways and waterways when splitting up the zones. Again, the zones could be turned into 5, 6, or 7, just depending. But the main part about it is when we decide to do this, if we do it, that we make sure each zone has the same amount of people in it. Because one thing that you don't want to do is dilute the population. Now, when accessing the PL files, there is 4 more criteria that you can use to actually come up with a map. You can go with P2, which deals with non-Hispanic, P3, which is race, P4, Hispanic, and 5. That deals with people that are incarcerated, nursing homes, college dormitories, what have you. And so when it comes to creating a zone or a map or a precinct or whatever we decide to call it, the work has already been done because I've downloaded all the files. And it'll be easy to do, you know. And so the 4 zones is just for reference. And our main objective tonight was for you guys to understand that this is not a final map. It's just a map showcasing what we can do if we had the opportunity to do that.
Fantastic.
Thank you. And I'll pass it back to Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Hey, I'm just hoping that we had the maps on the screen. So the audience might see it, so you might,
Thank you.
you might want to look at it. But here we go. A couple things happen. There we go. It's coming up on the screen. Let me just wrap up by what we're asking. And it's probably the first page or the last page is the ask, because obviously when we come here with an ask, right? Ask, ASK, and I have to be careful. Mr. Wallace asked me earlier, could he wear his hat? And I said, I'm not sure. And I looked up and I saw 2 hats. I said, okay, so Wallace is all right to wear his hat tonight. So I thank you guys for doing that. So where's my last slide here we have is what we're really asking for. It's not there? There it is. Our proposal. Oh, boy, bless your heart. Basically, we're proposing to amend the city charter, which would have to do to change the city of Fort Walton Beach from the method of 7 city council members at large to a hybrid system. The hybrid system consisting of 4 single-member districts and 3 at-large seats, with district boundaries to be established and revised in accordance with federal, state, and local law. I almost sound like you, Mr. Burns, sometimes. When I read this thing, it sounds pretty technical and legal. But the reality is that, as Mr. Wallace said, in our idea, we thought 4 might be a good idea. But we are just offering the fact that really having a district system versus a total at-large system is better. Whether that be 4, 5, or even maybe 7 districts, as they do in Pensacola, we do think that moving it to a district process is a better way to move our city forward, and that ensure that all of the neighborhoods and residents feel that there's some accountability and someone that they can go to and trust and have the champion for their neighborhoods. And that's it has nothing to do, as I shared with you when we first made the presentation, it's not about race. We're not trying to draw a district that's, has a minority race, if you will, to it. It's not about parties. We're not looking at party. We were looking simply at neighborhoods and communities and their representation and having that kind of government, if you will, for the city. We just think it's a great way forward. People said, why is the NAACP doing it? Well, because we just think it's a good idea. And so why not share that good idea with you? And like I said, we had some great people who were on the committee. You've met 2 of them. There are others here that are here and some that are not. But we're welcome and open to share some of the expertise if you decide to go forward. The map itself is the responsibility of the city council. We can make a recommendation, but the actual map, if you chose to go that way and the residents voted to go that way, would have to be drawn by the city council. And it would take inputs from the city, from anybody in the city as it relates to the maps. So these are just conceptual, is what we think they're just a good start. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to make this presentation to you tonight.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burns, is this something that the staff could bring back some sort of formal proposal for the council to discuss at a future meeting?
Yes, the timing might be a bit of a concern because I think, and Ms. Barnes knows the exact date, but I think it's basically the end of May that we have to have anything into Paul Lux. Like if the intent was to put this on the November election, then I think we have to have it into them basically before even qualifying's done for candidates. So council only has, I think, 3 more meetings before the end of May. You have 2 April meetings and 1 May meeting. And then since they don't have the maps already ready to go, if y'all do want to move forward with this, I don't know what it would take Daniel Payne's efforts to actually create the description of the map. So probably, but it might be kind of tight.
Well, and I'm not saying that obviously it would need to be something that would be discussed by council, public, et cetera, but if we were to move forward with it, that time frame would kind of we'd need to get that ball rolling, and that's kind of the point I'm asking.
But we could, I could get the legal side, I could draft up something for y'all to consider from the legal side at the next council meeting, and then y'all could decide if y'all want to put it for first and second reading at the next two meetings.
Right.
The map issue, though, is something that I don't know if he could come up with a rough draft map or not, Mr. Payne.
Well, Mr. Burns, doesn't the law, doesn't it state that the map to be drawn after the elected for the districts?
They would need the voters would need to know what they're voting on ahead of time, what the districts are going to be. So,
Right.
yeah.
Dan, Mr. Payne, would you come up and, I know you have a lot of projects, sir. What kind of time frame would you need to sort out these districts if that was something that we wanted to look at?
I don't know if it's just an exhibit or if it's I don't know what the map requirements are, right? Like, is there a legal involved? Is there I'm not well versed.
Well, I think as Mr.
on that
Wallace
stuff.
said, you would want the same proportions of residents in each of the zones. I know that wouldn't be an exact number, and you wouldn't do squiggly lines to include, 50 people to make it here or there, but I think a rough estimate, is that doable in a couple of weeks?
Like I said, research-wise, I really don't have any idea what we're getting into. So without committing
Sure.
to
that's a good
I'd have to.
I think we've got most of this work done, sure. So, again, Lucy slapped these things together in about an hour. So as far as printing out a map, no big deal. Masure's team put together a couple different flavors. I don't know, is there a reason you're not presenting those tonight, or you just wanted to go over conceptually?
We just wanted to see if there was going to be a vote first, and we didn't want to just present all the drawings that we had.
Okay, so he's done my opinion, right, he's done a fantastic job of a couple different flavors that keep the COIs intact and very visually easy to follow, because if I can do it, anybody can. So if you want to present two different flavors next time for you to pick from, I don't know what you're chasing there.
Well, what I'm just chasing is that I think it would be worth the while to honor all of this hard work with an actual presentation and debate and discussion amongst the city council, where the public could also come out and speak about it, et cetera, rather than tonight, a bunch of people just freewheeling off the top of their head with what they've come up with.
So if we
give
come back
everyone
next
time to study and look at everything, talk to members of the community as a presented item on an agenda at the next council meeting. My only concern was, is that enough time that if you wanted to get it on this November, you could? It sounds like it would be tight, but it's doable. Is that right?
As long as I get a good description for the map to put in the ordinance, I'm good to go.
So,
Yeah, so again, I don't want to speak for them, but I think it's doable. They had two flavors that made sense to me.
sure.
I think they could pitch that and explain why they were broken down the way they were broken down. And outside of that, anything else you want them to focus on? 'Cause I think what they have is okay.
But yeah, I think it's a great presentation. Again, it's just before the council would take action on it,
Sure.
I think it should be noticed to the public.
So I don't want to speak for you. You get to go next.
What you
have?
Yeah, you can bring all the expertise to the table and make a map available to you in another couple of days.
Hey, and just, I didn't mean to cut you off, but anybody that speaks, you got to get up by this
Oh,
microphone because we have to have the public
Yeah,
able to
we're
hear it.
here for, Ms. Shore has done quite a bit of homework. We recognized that there were three things that we had to look at. We had to look at the Constitution of the United States, we had to look at the VRE, the Voting Rights Act, and we had to look at the Florida statutes. And so all of our maps that and the conceptions that we've done have looked at taking those into account. And so, yeah, we're prepared to help staff with preparing a map of any configuration. I think we already have 5 districts drawn up. It would take us a couple of hours to get to the 6 or 7 districts if we wanted to go that route. But I do think it's easy, it's doable for us to make it happen before next council meeting.
I guess that'd be my next question, Mayor. So if I'm going to bring something back to the council, or at least from a legal conceptual standpoint, is it going to be 3 districts, 4 districts? A little direction tonight from the council might be helpful, at least in that regard, on the number of districts you want to do, because I think I've talked to most of the council today about this. One issue would be, obviously, the election in November is not going to be affected at all by this. So the 4 seats that are up for, will be all 4 at large. So then the council will need to decide, do you want the effective date of the amendment change, if it does get passed, to be 2028's election or 2030's election? And if y'all want 4 district seats, I think some of y'all indicated a preference to maybe line up 4 seats that are for 2030 with 4 districts, as opposed to doing 3 of the districts at the 2028 election and carrying one over kind of in a confusing fashion to 2030. And so,
Well, again, I think there are actually several other issues that definitely need to be discussed. I mean, I have several questions and several things that I would like to bring up in that discussion as well. I'm just saying, for the benefit of everyone, the public included, that you draft something, flavors, as Mr. Davis likes to say, bring those back. Hey, here's a 4-zone model, here's a 3-zone model, here's a one where there's 3 at-large seats in one election, here's where there's the 4 districts in one election, here's where they're mixed together, and then the public and the council could decide at that point whether to move forward, whether not to move forward, etc. Rather than tonight getting in some kind of freewheeling thing that we often do.
do you have a 3-district map, Mr. Williams?
We just,
You do, okay, so if tonight, if y'all want me to bring back 2 options, 1 with 3 and 1 with 4, I can do that. Whatever y'all decide, if they have the map, I can do that. So.
Mr. Walker.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Williams, I may have a question for you. It may be for Ms. Pounders, but, I thank you for the presentation, and I went through some of it, not the entire 308 pages, but thank you for putting that together. But I did pull out the first couple of pages that you presented there, Ms. Pounders, and something kind of caught me interesting that, you're a special interest group, and you want to I was a part of a special interest group as well. I stood right there and asked this council for certain things as well. And and this would be I have a question, but also have a statement, that a great way to achieve this goal of this great idea, good idea as you call it, is to go to the people, get the petitions signed, take them to the supervisor of elections, bring them back here, and it's a done deal. Now, would still be a part of it, but you pointed out some advantages and disadvantages, Ms. Pounder, so I went and spent a little bit of time just looking further, because this council may decide to move forward. They may nix it tonight and give you direction to go back to Paul Lux, go get your petitions, your ballot language, et cetera, together. But I just wanted to take just a minute, and with some research I came up with as reasons to keep an at-large. And this is really questions for you guys, if it's to be disputed, if it's for these guys and ladies to consider. But I'd like to point some of them out. An at-large represents the entire city and serves all residents, not just one area. It encourages decisions that benefit the whole community, and it reduces district versus district conflicts. Candidates can run citywide, not limited by geography. It increases chances of electing experienced, capable leaders. It reduces, quote, "you fund my district, I'll fund your district" deals. It promotes spending based on citywide priorities. It supports consistent long-term planning. It avoids fragmented decision-making across districts. It's no need to draw or redraw district lines. It avoids gerrymandering and boundary disputes. Every council member answers to all voters. It's harder to ignore any part of the community. No districts to track or confusion about representation. Everyone votes on the same candidates. It's harder for small localized groups to control elections. It requires broader community support. It reinforces, quote, one city mindset. It avoids geographic divisions in leadership, and all voters have the same influence across the city. It prevents imbalance between districts. So when I was reading all of those and looking at your advantages and disadvantages, which were greatly biased towards the new way of doing it, I had to ask myself, what do you have, or do you, Ms. Pounders, do you have any examples? I kind of operate under, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What's broke?
Well, let me not get into, obviously, all those things that you pointed out. Many
sure.
of them, I think, are somewhat speculative, if you will. I would think that a town hall meeting perhaps would help us address those kinds of questions. I know that this is not the way, the place to do it. Those are your reasons why you think you ought to keep it the same way, and some people may feel that way. The county itself is broken up into districts, and you know who you go to for your county representative. no single council person is going to have the ability to make a decision. You're going to have to convince 3 others to have something, to have a vote. And so it still takes that kind of effort. So it's not breaking it up and people becoming fractionalized, if you will. It's only providing representation for communities, and communities know who to go to and have somebody to hold accountable for those areas. But I'm arguing my point, if you will, because I believe it's the better way to do it, and your point is that those arguments that you make. But I don't think those are the kinds of arguments that maybe a town hall or a workshop of some sort, if you will, just to discuss those kinds of things would be more appropriate, to kind of
with the changing of the Constitution, our city Constitution, our charter by a special interest group coming up in here and asking this body to act on behalf of a special interest without input from the citizens through the form of a ballot initiative, I think you're going the wrong way about it, but that's me personally.
Remember that the issue has to go before the citizens to be voted on. The only thing you can do is put it on the ballot, and then the citizens will have to vote for or against it, if you will.
But the citizens haven't asked for it. A special interest group has asked for it.
The citizens have, the special interest group is simply the voice, if you will, of many of the citizens who have asked for it. I don't mind being that voice. I don't mind our group being, you say a special interest group. Our special interest is the rights of citizens, if you will. I don't have a problem being the voice of the rights of citizens in many cases, this being one of them. But when we first spoke about it, we talked about the fact we could have gone the petition route. And we thought that the petition route was sort of undercover in the sense that we would be doing it. Yeah, we can go out and get a certain number of petitions and get it on the ballot and boom. But we wanted to do it openly and transparently, if you will, to have all that kind of input to include what you're saying. If you want to make it just be because it's a special interest group that's making a presentation, that's fine. We'll accept that. But I think that the idea is good. That the citizens ought to have an opportunity to have some voice on it.
Well, as a member of a special interest group myself that stood there on that side of it and asked this body to do things, and they rightly instructed that special interest group to go get the people to speak about it, and we took a 3-year effort to get the required ballots, and they brought them back up in here and took them to Paul Lux, and as you know, November of '24, they made it onto the ballot. The voters put them on the ballot, and then they voted on them. So you're missing that first element. You're missing the element of the citizens requesting it through a ballot initiative. And that. So before this body and its staff goes to work districting and imagining all these things, I'm not sure that we've heard from the people. We've heard from a special interest group, and I'll respect you for that because I'm a part of one too. So I just recommend myself that you go the ballot initiative.
Well, there were just some charter initiatives that were on the last election, if I'm not mistaken, and that didn't.
Yeah, that didn't come from the people.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, they came from this body.
Came from the body.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You got it. All right, anyone else want to go on a long rant?
Thank you, sir.
I wanted to make a...
Sure, Ms. Riley, go ahead.
This is not unnecessarily something that has never been done before. Now, as you all know, and we do have Attorney Burns here, so he probably would know the case a lot better than mine. So there is a precedent case that's set in Georgia with an at-large voting. So me personally speaking, I think that, it makes sense to me. However, I'm only one voice, but on the other hand, I strongly feel that all communities need to be represented. We're taxpaying citizens. We don't want to be left out of the process. And we know that we've had members on the council, several members on the council that live in the same neighborhood. Several members. Okay, and then we also know that we've had neighborhoods that have been underrepresented, as of my neighborhood. And I'm so proud to be up here to even make that statement, because it's been a long time coming for my neighborhood to have some type of representation. And we are taxpaying citizens, and we do deserve that. But there is a case that you all can, you could go back and review in Georgia at large election. As we know, the federal government does not even host at-large elections, not in this day and time. So, in a sense, it is, I'm in agreement, it is a means of keeping certain targeted, marginalized communities out of the process. So just wanted to put that out there, and then also wanted to ask Sabu, did you all do any research as to, because this has not always been an at-large voting. As we know,
Well, actually,
prior years,
it was, we had 7 seats,
that is correct.
but they were all at large. They were just numbered seats. And remember, I shared, in fact, I came before this council way back then when I had 7 seats and asked if those 7 seats should at least represent something. Why didn't you have 7 seats? They represent nothing. If somebody wanted to run, they just pick a seat. Didn't matter where they lived, just the seats. And when I left and came back, we got rid of the seats, but they were always at large. They were just numbered seats.
Okay.
Now, I got here in 1978, unless there's something prior to that, that there was single-member districts, I don't remember, I don't know. But from 1978 to the time I've been here, it's always been at large.
Yeah.
But they were seats.
So I guess I just want to say that, it's in terms of Councilman Walker mentioning a special interest group. Me personally, I'm not, really had a partake in any type of special interest group, but my mindset has always wandered down through the years, why is there not, district seating or seats, So I'm open-minded enough to listen. So thank you for the presentation. Thank you, Mayor, for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Councilman Schmidt.
Mr. Riley brought up a good point. Mr. Wallace, you mentioned you had some data on the blocks. What were some of the neighborhoods that were higher voter turnout and lower voter turnout?
One of the things that I did,
Mr. Wallace.
one of the things I did to keep it fair, I didn't do a query on the BAP. All I did was pop 2, which is PL, the population. That's it. I didn't want to veer into it and see which zones had minorities, Hispanic, who voted for who didn't vote for who. So
just turnout, not so much race and all that.
I got you.
No data on turnout.
Yes, just to keep the position of partnership all around was population.
And that was my direction, was that we would focus merely on looking at the district from a population standpoint and ensuring that each district, ensuring, I asked Mr. Wallace to just look at it from a district, from a population standpoint, to ensure that we had numbers, probably equal numbers of people from the districts versus any other reason beyond ensuring the districts themselves were populated properly and keeping community of interest, if you will, intact. Certain neighborhoods that were, all of the neighborhoods that you outlined already in the city for Open Beach, I think, I've got a map of those particular neighborhoods. They're all intact, so we didn't break up neighborhoods, Beale Street neighborhood or Ferry Park neighborhood, those kind of things. We kept them intact at the same time, and those were the 2 things that we asked them to focus on in determining the district lines, if you will.
And, ultimately, I'm going to lean towards, like what Mayor was saying, getting this down the road so that we can have some community engagement, some spirited debates, take a vote on it. Because I lean towards, I was one of the guys that Payne pitched the presentation to when he was with that special interest group. May still be, I don't know if you're still with him or not, I don't know what that looks like. But, I wanted that to go to the voters and let the voters figure it out and let's move on. So I plead with you of not having to go through that practice that he mentioned, get it on the ballot, whether I support it as a resident or not, and let the voters turn out. The reason why I was asking those questions is to kind of respond to Ms. Riley. I think some of the bigger concerns I have is the educational piece in some of those precincts who don't show up to vote. And to me, that's a bigger concern than the lack of representation. And the reason why you have multiple people from the same neighborhood is because in some of those neighborhoods, the voter turnout is much higher than a certain neighborhood.
Right.
The most recent March 10th election, Northwest Florida State College precinct, where the Sylvania Heights votes, it was like single digits. The Trinity United Methodist Church, where Kenwood votes, and the Hollywood Baptist Church, where Elliott Point votes, a few hundred people show up to vote. I don't know what the racial background is and those kind of things. It's not a race thing, but I would encourage those who may think it's lack of representation, but instead rethink and change the narrative of it's the lack of education that's in some of those communities to get the people to show up and vote is what's really crippling.
So I would think too that those people probably feel disheartened over the years that they felt left out of the process, and therefore why go vote when I'm continuously being left out of the process? I feel our communities are not benefiting, but you're asking me to go vote all of the time. And so those may be some of the reasons. Education is certainly one of the reasons, but I do think that people feeling left out draws for them the question of why do I participate if we're going to be left out?
They just got to show up and vote. Like, we ain't leaving them out. Like, nobody's leaving them out.
Like, guarantee that they're going to get any assistance.
But I support getting it let's get it to an agenda. Let's debate it. Let's get it to a referendum. But we'll probably be discussing this through another agenda item, then a first reading and a second reading. So we'll have more of these conversations. But while we have this red line on, I would also encourage the NAACP to continue to lean in to find that educational piece to get some of those, in y'all's words, underrepresented communities to show up and have that voter turnout increase. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. And again, that was just, my point was that if we put this on an agenda, we can have this discussion where Mr. Walker can read his points that argue against it, and Ms. Riley can read her points that she argues for this, and the public can show up, and we can have a debate, and we can do this rather than at a presentation where a group has just come to tell us about something that they did and encourage us to take some kind of action. So any action would have to be voted on by the entire body, and the public would have ample opportunity and warning to show up here and say, hey, we want that, or hey, we do not want that. And it's y'all's jobs as representatives of those people to encourage them to come out during that time, show up, and make their voices heard, correct? So I think we're all on the same page, and if it gets struck down in the first reading, so be it. But I made a presentation and I thought it was excellent. Again, as I said at the beginning, I do have some serious questions about it. One of them is it's going to be very difficult to enforce. So I would encourage whomever presents this at the next thing to show how we're going to say that that person lives there, and if they don't, what's the penalty for that? So there's a lot of other ones.
You raised that question, and we were certainly prepared to answer, but not tonight. But sure, we were prepared to answer that question.
So I do appreciate the presentation. I appreciate all of y'all's work. As members of the community, as city residents, some of you, it's important that the council listen to you, and I'm glad that you're here tonight.
And by the way, I'm the only one who doesn't live in this.
I know. I was trying not to point you out or call you out, but you did it yourself.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Just before we move on, would it be more better to make that a special meeting, so we're not in a council meeting for 17 hours?
Yeah,
I think this one might have a lot of...
That's probably valid, I would say.
All right, we'll figure out some dates and get it out. All right.
Cool. That brings us to the next presentation.
Quick, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I need a little bit of direction though. Do y'all want to just have the options for 3 and 4 districts? That'll make the job easier on staff, and I don't think they really were serious about a 7 district or a 1 district.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was serious about that.
So 3 versus 4, is that?
I think so, unless somebody wants to clarify that there's no need for 3, or there's no need for 4, or no need for any.
Well, that's right. No need for any.
Well, and again, make that argument at the event. When it's an agenda item, make that argument. But we all sat here and I said, we don't want to do this tonight. And then you took 10 minutes and did it anyway. So
It's a presentation.
again, it's a presentation. And when it's an agenda item, let's have that debate. Let's say those words. Let's ask those questions. That's what we do to represent people. But tonight, we just wanted to hear about it. So
we'll bring 3 or 4.
yeah, I think that's fine. Just keep it as simple as possible. And again, if it gets voted down unanimously, it gets voted down unanimously. That's fine. Let the people have their opportunity to speak. Mr. Corcoran will give you the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, City Council, City staff, and interested citizens. Ted Corcoran on behalf of the Greater Fort Walton Beach Chamber of Commerce. For the last 20 years, I have had the pleasure of sharing updates on the Fort Walton Beach Chamber of Commerce initiatives. Today, however, I'm honored that our representatives from our board are going to be here. Bonnie Barlow, our 2026 Chair of the Board, the CEO of Bridgeway Center, and our 2027 Chair of the Board, Alan Jowers, a partner in Carr Riggs Vingham, want to share the fun with you. First, Bonnie Barlow.
All right. Thank you. Good evening. It's been very interesting so far, so I'll make my remarks brief. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you this evening, and we appreciate your continued partnership and investment in our shared community. Our chamber operates a community development organization, and our mission, this is our mission statement, is to advocate for businesses across Okaloosa County while creating opportunities for all. And the way we do this is we bring businesses, nonprofit, and government leadership together because we believe that this strengthens our local economy when we align those different sectors and enhance our overall quality of life in our community. And our work is grounded in service to our members. We provide business promotion, advocate on critical local issues, especially this year, and create meaningful exposure that help organizations grow and succeed. Many of you have attended our First Friday Coffee, so you've been able to see that firsthand. There's about 400 people there each Friday. We also have 12 networking committees that provide business-specific support. And as a nonprofit organization, we have a board of directors, and I'm very proud to work with these volunteers that are a group of dedicated leaders who are deeply committed to our community. Beyond business advocacy, the Chamber honors those who serve in our military and our community. This past year, we were proud to co-host the Mayor's Gala and also honoring our Heroes events, recognizing the service and sacrifice of those who served in Vietnam and most recently at Desert Storm. These moments matter. They connect generations. They preserve our history and reinforce the values of Fort Walton Beach. In closing, for me, the Chamber is more than a business organization. We're a connector, we're an advocate, and we're a catalyst for our community progress. We value our partnership with the city, and we look forward to continuing the work together to ensure Fort Walton remains a place where businesses thrive and residents enjoy a high quality of life. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your leadership and your continued support. And now I'll ask Alan Jowers, our 2027 board chair, to say a few words.
Thank you very much. I want to start out by saying how much I echo Bonnie on the good relationship that I think our chamber has with the city, and how when we talk together, I always say good businesses are built on a foundation of good government. So you guys lay the foundation that our businesses use to succeed. A couple of three things, just some real tangible aspects of our relationship. First of all, each month at our board meeting, we get an update from city representative. It's been Councilman Merrill for the past few months. And, you know, I've been more heavily involved in the chamber for about the last 3 or 4 years, and I really appreciate that update that we get. So we hear from a city representative on the things that are going on within the city, the progress on the landing, the progress on ball fields, and how just the city is coming along. And again, that helps our business members understand what's going on in the community and helps them grow their businesses and be more successful. A couple of other items. We've been very heavily involved with the Highway 98 relocation that, sometimes you'll be heard as the around the mound relocation. We have had multiple meetings where we discuss the progress of that, where we identify ways in which we can help. We went with Mr. Davis on a little jaunt to Chipley to visit the district office of the Florida Department of Transportation, where we gained understanding of the phases of the project and the things that the city can do and the things that the chamber can do to help promote that, to move that project higher on the TPO's list, to help figure out how to get that item funded. We also, as a little side note, helped Mr. Davis figure out how long it is to get from Fort Walton Beach to Chipley and back. I didn't think he realized just how far of a trip that was. And then lastly, and this is something that has come up very recently, the Okaloosa County, as you know, in 2018, started a half-cent surtax for infrastructure projects. That surtax has been going on now. We're in our 8th year. The county gets money, your municipality gets money, other municipalities get money from that surtax. It's been a wild success from the standpoint of the residents are taxed, and I'm usually against being taxed. I'm a conservative CPA. But what happens is we take our residents' tax and we throw on that visitors and tourists that are helping to pay this tax. And then we, the county, and we, the municipalities, are able to take our portion of that tax and partner with state, partner with federal, partner with things like Triumph Gulf Coast. And it's been a benefit to the community. So earlier this month, the county voted on a resolution to put that surtax out for referendum to renew for another 10 years. So that will take it will expire in 2028, and the 10 years will take that half-cent surtax out to 2038. We support that effort because of the transformational change that it helps to bring to our community, both from a county perspective and from a municipality perspective. We have had all of the city managers, we've had all of the chambers in our building to discuss how we support that and how we would encourage those efforts. And so those are some ways that we really, as far as our relationship goes, how we believe that we bring tangible benefit to the city. And I'll close and be happy to take any questions, Bonnie and I. Just how much I appreciate the relationship that we have with the city. I grew up in the city of Fort Walton Beach. Actually, you may not realize this, I grew up at 210 Martisa. I grew up five houses down the road from the DeBerrys. But you know, it warms my heart really to be able to work with city representatives, people that I've known for a long time, and work to benefit and make a difference in our community. So thank you very much. Be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Jowers, Ms. Barlow, or Mr. Corcoran? Councilman Schmidt.
I just want to kind of echo what the relationship between the Chamber and the city is in a healthy trajectory, and more specifically, thank you all for continuing to advocate for that moving of the Highway 98. I know we have a long ways to go, especially getting that right-of-way construction funded, roughly $250 million. But I want to continue to encourage all advocacy groups, everybody up here that has relationships with our state delegation, national delegation, and continue the positive relationship that we have with the county on continuing to move that momentum forward. It's going to be a legacy project just to get to this point. Thank you for your efforts, as well as many other projects as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know this past week, it may have been earlier, it may have been yesterday, I think it was past week, we received a letter from Mr. Corcoran and a funding request. Is that what this presentation is here tonight, or are you just presenting otherwise? Are you requesting money for the 26-27 budget in accordance with Mr. Corcoran's letter?
My understanding is that we were asked to present as part of our community partnership. So the presentation tonight and then the request for funding are two separate items.
Great, thank you.
So just to clear that up too, they were supposed to be a months back, but I can't remember what meeting it was. I thought it was going to be crazy, so we bumped it out just so we didn't have a 15-hour meeting.
And just to further clear that up, every group, I think there's only 3 now, is that correct, that we give a yearly, I don't want to say donation, but every group that we partner with in the community. Every grantee we ask to come to our meetings and give us usually quarterly updates. That's why the people from the Emerald Coast Fitness Foundation, the pool, show up once a quarter and tell us what's going on. Chamber, same thing.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Well, thank you again for being here, and your presentation was excellent. Thank you very much. All right, brings us to item 8 on our agenda tonight, which is the consent agenda. Council.
Mayor, so moved. Consent agenda.
Motion by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Merrill to approve tonight's consent agenda. Any additional comments?
Anything to add about the meeting minutes for the March 10th meeting, sir?
Sounds great. Council, please vote. Consent agenda passes unanimously, which brings us to item 9, Mayor Council comments. We start with Ms. Riley.
I think I'll hold.
Okay. Say it to the end. Councilman Schmidt.
Right, Mr. Mayor, you good? Mr. Davis, currently fire, is that universal dispatch ran through the county? Can you confirm that?
The dispatch goes through Chief Page, goes through county, and it's routed to us.
Fire does?
Yes, for fire, yes.
Correct.
Dispatch goes through the county's EOC.
If Chief Page wants to answer for the fire, that's awesome too.
I assumed it was all through 911, yeah.
Gotcha, okay, yeah. So, and the reason why I asked that is because I would like to, we can have some more conversation, debate after the action or the motion's made, but I'd like to move that the city manager request a proposal from Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office to provide full-time dispatch service for Walton Beach and bring that info back to a future meeting during this budget process for board consideration.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Walker. Do you hear?
So yeah, big fan of proposals, whether we're discussing Gulfview or anything else, we get proposals back, kind of like you mentioned about the redistricting. It could fail unanimously, it could pass unanimously, or somewhere in between, but want to take action to empower our CEO to go request a proposal from the Sheriff's Office and see if we can run that dispatch service very similar to how our fire currently does it. And it's my understanding we haven't had any concerns with that on the fire side. I would not to dive too deep into the proposal, but I think we also too can be a pioneer in having a universal dispatch system with other municipalities going that direction and improving that service and improving that safety response as well. So that was what the motion intended, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak on the motion? Ms. Riley.
I guess I'm a little baffled. Just want to know, is there a problem with our current dispatch?
No, just like how there's not a problem with a fire dispatch that's ran through the county as well.
As I understand it, Ms. Riley, the aim of Councilman Schmidt's motion is to seek a proposal to discover if there are any cost savings there. Is that correct?
That's it. And then let's look at the proposal and discuss it.
Gotcha.
We don't know what the proposal is right now.
Right. Understand.
But I guess what I'm trying to say, normally when you strategize and to do something like that, is there an end game in that, or is there something going on with our current dispatch? Chief Page is sitting there. Could I ask that question to him, or?
Yeah,
that's our PD dispatch that you're referring to. Is that correct, Councilman Walker?
I'm sorry?
Is that our current, or?
He made the motion.
Smith, Councilman Smith. My apologies. Is there?
Ask again. I'm sorry, Miss Riley. I'm not sure what you're asking.
I guess I'm trying to ask. Normally, when you're strategizing and thinking about submitting bids out to one of your departments, or any organization would do that, but obviously you've done some type of research or some historical or some type of data is showing that we're not performing up to par, or it's not cost effective or cost efficient.
I'm following you.
And I guess I'm just asking, are we at that point? Because you're asking for bids for our PD, and Chief Page is present, so I wanted to see if Chief Page could answer my question. And my question would be, are we at the point, well, are we not capable of doing the dispatch services that you are doing now? Or, are there any type of, I don't know, is the performance eval falling, or, you know, we're not able to perform at the highest level that we're accustomed to? I just want to know why the bid is put out there. And maybe you know something I don't know, I guess, you know.
Yeah, but we do have a motion and a second on the board, but very similar, I don't want to speak for Chief Page, but at a staff level, some of the initial actions that Chief Page made while he was here was consolidating some of our special response tactic team with the county to improve the service, to make the team out. Again, I don't want to speak on a day-to-day level for that. This is to request to get a proposal to not have any ill will or anything that we're not meeting a certain standard. And I understand that's where the direction of your question is going. This is not to discredit any of our hard-working men and women that are there. Some of those same people, if the proposal is acceptable by this board when it's come back, a lot of them would still be working. But what I'm getting to is I like to see proposals, we discuss it, and we go from there.
Anyone else wish to comment on the motion? Councilman Gio.
So the motion is to just receive proposals so that we can review them at a future meeting. It'd be an agenda item, just like the presentation was earlier. At that point in time, we can learn all the facts. And yeah, kind of caught me off guard too, but you bring up a good point. We did merge with the county on our tactical team years ago, so we do work with the county on a lot of other things right now. Maybe our service is great, but maybe there is something out there better. So I'll support the motion because we're always trying to learn and listen and get better, and we'll see where it goes.
Anyone else wish to speak on this? Councilman Walker.
Ms. Riley, I heard a part of your question, and I knew it was for him, but I felt you asked about what the end game is. It was my understanding, based on my second, that it was one of the end games. I don't know him, I'm not going to speak for him about it, but was money. Is there an ability to save money and have the same level of performance? And once that proposal's out there, when it comes back, we'll all be able to evaluate if it's a lower level of service, higher level of service. Is it going to cost us less? Is it going to cost us more? So that's why I made my second. It was my thought was he was asking, is there a possibility in the future that there could be a savings to taxpayers? So I jumped right on that second.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Browning.
Just for clarification, Mayor, with voting on something that's not on the agenda takes supermajority vote, correct? According to Resolution 2026-3, paragraph 6.4.
Mr. Burns.
It does say extraordinary vote of the council, but I guess if he's really just asking to put this on another agenda, that you can also request items be put on a future agenda for consideration. I think your motion is to put this on a future agenda item. It's not to take action tonight. Is that?
Yes.
Councilmember Schmidt. So you're not taking any action tonight. This is just a scheduling motion. So.
Cool. I mean, the motion was for a proposal, correct?
That's action.
Yeah, to get the.
So it does require extraordinary vote. So
okay. And then let me ask you this from a procedure standpoint. If that does fail, then I'll just need to add that to a future agenda so that we can.
You could modify it now, I guess.
Do that. I mean, at some point we'll get to the agenda and we'll discuss it then, you know. But just trying to get through the budget process, if there's ways we can do things. I know we're still waiting on the judge's order to figure out what Amendment 6 is doing. You know, we got to do and look at things and look at proposals. But if there's an objection, I respect Mr. Browning. If we need to do something and add it to the April agenda and discuss it more, or who knows, we might have a super majority vote here in a little bit. I don't know, but whatever you think, Mr. Browning.
Gotcha. Anyone else with a statement on the motion?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Still open. And it might be for you, Chief Page, if I can ask it. It goes through fire, what did you say, it went through county, and then it's rerouted back to us?
For police, but for fire, it's just...
For fire, it's just... So right now, our police is routed through, it goes to county, and it's kicked back to us.
Kind of, yeah.
I just want to understand it, like truly.
It'll make it sound more intelligent.
So there's two separate dispatch systems. In fire, it goes directly to the county, and the county dispatches fire. In policing, it's a hybrid system. If you call 911, it goes to the county transfers the call to us, and we dispatch. If you call our local number, it comes directly to us, and we directly dispatch that call. So it depends on which number you call. Depends on whether it goes to the county first and gets transferred to us. If you call the local number, we dispatch directly.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on the motion? Council, please vote. It does pass 4-3, but I suppose that's not a super majority.
So,
Councilman
Mr.
Schmidt,
Mayor, I'd like to add to the second meeting in April to the agenda to discuss requesting a proposal from basically Ms. Barnes, if you can copy and paste my motion and add that to the agenda.
Second.
At the end of April.
I don't think we need
And I don't
a
think
motion.
we'll do it. Any action there.
We'll do it.
Take some time to have this conversation about a month from now. All right, next thing, I would like to also add requesting.
Before you move on.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to shoot for that second meeting in April, but we have a lot of people that we're going to be relying on for them to get back to us. So if I can't get on that second one, I'll push it off to the May one, but I'll let you know in advance. Should be good, but I don't want to speak for their timelines.
I would like to start that action tonight, but we can't.
I get it. I mean, I have people, the sheriff does not report to me as much as I'd like him to, so I don't know what his workload is.
Yeah, no,
He might
for
tell me to
sure.
pound sand for a month, so.
And you won't know whether or not you are going to go meet with the sheriff or not until probably after April, so.
I'll start the conversation now.
Well, no, we gotta wait. We gotta wait.
I mean, we can put them.
In past 4-3, but Mr. Browning brought up a good point about procedural, that the city attorney confirmed that we gotta put something on the agenda before we can take action.
Got it.
So my request to Ms. Barnes is copy and paste my motion and add that to the end of April.
Sometimes you gotta write it down in crayon.
It's probably gonna pass, that's probably gonna pass 4-3. And then we'll go get that proposal then. All right, so with that being said, I'd also like to request to add ordinance 2155 for review at that same April 28th meeting. Add that to the agenda.
What ordinance is that?
That's ordinance 2155.
I mean, I know the number.
That would be our, after being a year into the school zone safety camera ordinance that we baked in through 2 readings.
Gotcha.
All right. Mr. Mayor, this is the last thing I have, and I'm looking for a consensus and hopefully unanimous support from our board for asking our city manager to discuss areas he can identify with, let's call it the watch group, let's call it Rob Smith, whatever anybody wants to call it, but to help give our staff clarity in areas to improve for the 2027 budget process and bring that info back to the board for consideration on how to move forward. So I want to be sensitive to if we can't take action tonight, but I'm strongly pleading for us to get a consensus because, again, we don't have the judge's order on what's going on with Amendment 6, but we have staff working really hard to go through the budget process. We heard through a Get the Coast article that they teed it up for us, that saying there's some challenges. I would love to empower our CEO to figure out some compromises we may be able to bring back and change via ordinance, and some things that we can make better for our staff to go through this budget process. And I want our CEO to have support, and if there's not support, there's not support. We'll just, I guess, wait for a new election and then maybe change the wording of the referendum and try it again. But I'd like to start taking immediate action as quick as possible.
So what's your directive?
I'd like to make a motion, but I don't know if that's going to be shot down.
I think you can either.
Maybe ask the city attorney. I mean, can I make a motion, or does it need to be added onto a future agenda? I mean,
You just made a motion a second ago. You can make a motion if it just
maybe
needs
it has to pass
extraordinary.
the majority. That's right.
Correct.
That's right. So, all right, Mayor, so moved. Let me read that again. To ask our board to get our CEO, city manager, to discuss areas he can identify with Mr. Rob Smith to give our staff clarity in areas to improve for the 2027 budget process and bring that info back to the board for consideration on how to move forward.
I got a couple comments on that.
Absolutely.
So we're having a.
Let's do it.
What we're all voting on.
Let's do it.
I don't dig on that for the reason that I don't want one or two special interest groups to dictate how the city runs, right? If we're going to go that approach, I would sit down with Jay Odom or some of these people they're also special interest groups, right? I would sit down with Candace Tanner and Valerie Wenzel. They're different special interest groups, right? They all have their own motivations. So just because this particular group wants to sue the city, that's irrelevant, right? We're still going to operate. This is a policy thing that you're asking me to dictate. That group needs to come in here and pitch to you guys their ideas, and then you can direct staff to implement their ideas. I don't think it's appropriate for me to sit down and guide a 22,000 resident city on input from one individual or two or three, whatever, that meets their personal needs, if you follow.
No, I respect that. I respect that. I just know that we probably won't make as much progress as fast as what I'd like to ironing out some things with whether we like it or not. It's the only group who have current litigation going through.
Again, all good. We're going to navigate it, right? The work will get done.
Yeah,
it's not going to be effective and efficient as it should be, but it's going to be legal.
And that was the intent of the motion, to make it more effective and efficient. Because with Amendment 6 not passing as what we know of now, it's going to be harder to do some things. I'm just trying to support and get some areas that we can make things more efficient, more effective for staff. If, that's just the reason for that. But
Can I just interject as well, because I think I understand certainly what both of you are saying, but that's you guys, the seven of you, your power here is you can go sit down with Rob Smith or whomever and say, hey, what inefficiencies are we currently operating under, and what should I walk into the next council meeting and make a motion, or what should I put on the agenda so that we can say, hey, we want to change these parts by ordinance, just like you said. If there's things that could be run better with the 3% thing. I think at one point I heard during this conversation that individuals that were behind wanting the 3% thing understand now that there are inefficiencies after seeing it in operation for a year. And those individuals were willing to compromise on things. But those individuals don't have the ability to come in here and make a motion, but you guys all do. So if there are inefficiencies, any one of you seven could come in here and say, hey, I want to put this on the agenda, that we have this discussion, get the background for it, and then let's do something by ordinance to change that 3% thing if you're looking to take positive action, which I love and I support as a resident. But I think I understand what both of you are saying, and is that a good compromise?
Yeah, it is, and I respect, again, what you're saying, Mr. Davis, but I think we're going to be waiting for them to come to us, and that may or may not happen. I'm just doing what I feel obligated to do on trying to get some chairs filled up at a negotiating table to try to get things moving to be more effective and more efficient, to try to find some areas that we can increase our capacity in that expense threshold to do some things during this budget process. But, with that strong stance, Mr. Davis, I respect that. If you don't want to do it or you don't feel comfortable,
I don't think it's a good precedent to start me taking direction from any member of the public.
I don't think it's direction. It's definitely not direction. I think it's a conversation that you bring information back to the board that will then...
I think you already know what they want.
We don't.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
I understand where Mr. Schmidt is coming from and also Mr. Davis. I see both sides. Staff knows what the problems are. I don't understand why we have to meet with not even the special interest group that started this or any other special interest groups. I think staff should be able to bring back to you guys to decide and say, hey, this is where we see the inefficiencies. I don't think we have to get an interest group involved.
I hear that, but we've also seen this play too, where there's also could be concerns of more litigation. And I just don't want to go down that playbook again and again and again. So let's get the parties at the table, discuss it, and hopefully be proactive so that we're mitigating litigation.
I'm only suggesting that this is the table.
Yeah, I hear you.
The red light and the camera and all of that, and if we put it on the table, every party could come to the microphone and say, I don't like that one bit. Change this, change that, do this, don't do that. And that way no one's suing anyone because everyone had an opportunity to say something. And the board could be influenced by any number of people that walked in here and said whatever they wanted to say.
And we've been sued.
I mean, isn't that what we all strive for, is not to have some backroom negotiation between the city manager and a special interest group?
So I want to make sure we're clear. There's no back room.
Well, it wouldn't be at a public meeting. It would have.
Our executive and our CEO discusses things outside of the public meeting regularly.
For sure.
And brings things to a public meeting for vote. I'm asking for negotiations just like every executive does in municipality, county, government, and bring things back to the board for discussion and direction. That's it. So again, I mean, it's kind of like the presentation we heard from an interest group today. We heard a presentation. There was conversations, I'm sure, outside this meeting with our executive office and our city attorney, those things, and the board at some point is going to discuss on agenda items to move forward, not with district elections. But
I just think it would be a great item to put on an agenda, on the next agenda.
Let's do it.
And I would be glad to do that. If you only get one item on an agenda per meeting, I don't know.
You'll never put that limitation.
Where we're at on any of that.
I'm at 2 now, right?
I know I can put them on there, and I would love to have this.
You got that one in there.
I would love to have this item on the
Let's do
next city council agenda.
May I ask a question?
No, we're gonna, because there's no motion, correct?
Correct. We
So
just
there's
saw
no
it right
motion.
there.
Right.
I'm at my council's minute.
Right,
Just did my third thing, and I'm
And so
done.
now you're good, and so now we'll move on. Councilman Walker.
I think that was record setting on motions, and we didn't set one. So
Yeah, this is where action's
I
taken.
know, dude. You know, this was great. You've set a new record. That's awesome. I love being the first in things. Just a quick follow-up on Mr. Davis, on Mr. Schmidt, and I think you know that. I think you'll probably operate this way. That dispatch, I mean, it can be a heads up to the sheriff's department over there that it's coming up, and any preliminary legwork that they need to do, they can do it. Because I mean, I don't know if you email them or what, but we don't have to wait for it to come on an agenda to give them a heads up that we're talking about things, right?
I would, yes, is the answer. I would like to at least start that, because if he tells me we can't do it, I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you for that. So my first one would be, I guess, probably to Mr. Burns. This morning, the county had a commission meeting, and they voted to prohibit red light and traffic cameras on county-maintained roads. Do you know which cameras that's going to impact? Or Chief Bays, you may know which cameras that's going to prohibit?
I mean, I don't think it's going to prohibit any of our cameras, and me and Mr. Burns talked about this very briefly today. There's also no retro action that would take course, correct, Mr. Burns?
Right,
If
it
any of our
won't
cameras were on
impact any
county
cameras
roads.
that are already in place, because the city has jurisdiction over the police powers within city limits. But I think, talking to another council member, when I was briefing today, someone brought up the point that there might be an interest in putting another camera at the academy. That issue needs some research, because that is a county road and there's no existing currently a camera out there, and so it would require some research on that at this point in time, but I don't have an answer for you right
So, okay, so racetrack is you're saying that it's
a state road.
It's a state road, and therefore it's not a part of it. So they're all coming from, which I brought up previously at a meeting, on the unconstitutionalness of the process, and Chief Bays, you and I had that conversation back then about the unconstitutional. Now a judge out of Broward County has ruled it unconstitutional. It's not been ruled that way here yet, but do you have any thoughts, plans, or intents to remove them voluntarily, or is it going to be something that goes to the court for you to wait on the court to decide the unconstitutionalness of it?
I only carry out the will of the city council, so it would have to be the will of the city council to remove photo enforcement. I would have no intentions to remove photo enforcement myself. I've actually gone around the state as a strong advocate for photo enforcement, spoken from the state legislature, who had the opportunity to make changes to the photo enforcement law this year and opted not to make any changes to the photo enforcement law. And I can tell you, in dealing with probably now over 15 years with photo enforcement, because I dealt with photo enforcement when I was down in Miami for red light cameras, I've seen several court challenges to red light cameras, and there were 2 cases that went to the Florida Supreme Court, the most recent one in 2018, And photo enforcement ultimately has always been ruled constitutional at the appellate and at the Supreme Court level.
Well, and I've been researching, as you and I've spoken, I've continued to research it continually because I believe fully they're unconstitutional. We can disagree on that. You believe they're constitutional, right?
I do.
And you believe that it's based on the legislature passing a law that said since you get a picture of their tag, that makes it constitutional. Is that correct?
My belief has nothing to do with the actual constitutionality of the law, and we may have different beliefs on the issue, and that will ultimately decide in a court of law. And as I said previously, if the council desires to remove photo enforcement, that's the council's choice, and I just execute the will of the city council.
Yeah, and I do believe it's constitutional. I'm not sure if this body is...
And I would agree with you that it is constitutional.
Okay, I misspoke. It's unconstitutional, as I don't think the legislature can pass a law that if my car is seen at a bank robbery, they can arrest me for it just because the legislature said they could. That's why our judiciary is in place to protect us from unconstitutional laws out of the legislature. So I misspoke there, but thank you for pointing that out. While you're there, can you give us any updates on the police unionization efforts?
I only played a small part in that. I mean, that's really a joint effort between myself and the city manager. The process, when you say an update on the process, I think many people are probably not even aware of the process. And it really started back when the charter amendment vote took place, and the union the members of the agency then wanted to be collectively bargaining, similar to how the fire department is collectively bargained, executed their right to be collectively bargained, had a vote for collective bargaining, and now they're up to the point where we're in contract discussions with the collective bargaining agent. And I don't believe there's a lot of work that has been done. There's been a little bit of drafting of some language, but beyond the drafting of the language, unless Mr. Davis has any other update,
No,
that's
I
pretty much
sent a
where we
draft
stand at.
contract to our labor attorney through Derek. Derek's here. I'm just waiting on him to give me some feedback.
Greg, and you sent me an email on it, and you said, and then you mentioned the charter amendments there. You mentioned in the email to me, it was the environment, and then you mentioned the amendments. Help me understand. So because of amendments, the police department decided to unionize?
So when you say environment, I think that's
political environment.
I think that's a very ambiguous term, and now you
He
narrow
used it, not me.
You narrow that term down a little bit and you say political environment, and I would say that my response and his response are very similar to that. When you say environment and political environment, the political environment encapsulates the charter amendments, other actions that were taken. I can tell you the actions taken here tonight about the dispatch thing is one of the things that we looked into dispatch in 2018-19 and saw that there's only a $30,000 savings to the city at the time. And at that time, the cost value, because everything is not about cost, there's also a value component that gets put into it, but it's already hard for us to staff and dispatch. By them hearing now, the fire department unfortunately went through this for probably 4 or 5 years with the drip, drip, drip of consolidation, it really makes it hard to recruit and retain personnel. And it is something that I'll have to go back to and account for tomorrow for the discussion that was taking place here, because we have dispatchers that are looking to say, is there a future in the city of Fort Walton Beach? What is the city of the future in Fort Walton Beach? And we had always looked, when we did that study back in 2019, that $30,000 was not worth it. I don't know what the study is going to say this time around, but I can tell you the county probably pays about $2.50 more per hour for a dispatcher than we do. The last time we did the study, the county rolled that into is what is the cost of dispatchers for it, what is the cost of licensing, what is the cost of computer software, and gave us that cost. So I think everything kind of ties in together, and it's not a singular action or a singular reason, but it's a conglomeration of reasons and motivations that may lead to something occurring.
And so me being new to this fight that's going on, or these positionings, and I hear that the political environment, it might have caused the police to consider. Would you consider it a protection move And if, I mean, what are the why would the police department want to unionize based on the political
So
environment?
first of all, I have no action in the unionization or non-unionization of the police union. It is strictly the bargaining members' rights under the PERC stands for Public Employee Relations Committee Council. So in the state of Florida, they have the right to collectively bargain. They chose to exercise that right. You'd really have to ask somebody that is in the labor union what truly motivated them to form a union. I hear bits and pieces because I'm at the station, I conversate with officers at the station, but I do not know what motivated every single officer, and every single officer may not have voted yes. I don't know what the final outcome of the vote was. I just know the majority of the votes were a yes vote.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so those were my words, right?
Political environment, so I had to look at what was going on.
As I try to do ride-alongs, that I get out and talk with as many as I could, and that was the overwhelming feedback is calls from the dais to consolidate frequently. Because people have kids and houses and car payments and all that jive, so they freak out a little bit when the bosses are saying, hey, maybe we need to get rid of these, whatever the department is. And the 3% cap is what people were telling me, right? So they were freaking out that milk and gas went up 9%, you're going to give me a 2.53 in October. That was the feedback.
Gotcha, and it was in line with Councilman Schmidt's thoughts there that those people, those police officers, and I do this often, if I had a magic wand and I went poof, the police department's gone, who would provide our law enforcement services? The same men and women who are on the street. We know that consolidation is a cost-saving measure to the number of chiefs, if you will, not you, chief, but chiefs in it and upper management. So taxpayers, as I brought up recently regarding Destin's services of their 36,000 calls compared to our 31, our 78-member staff department at almost $10 million versus $3 million. So I felt, based on your political environment discussion, that they may be unionizing because they fear the people, the vote of we the people, who may decide to choose to get our police services from the sheriff's department. So that's what I was looking for. Have you heard any of that in the bits and pieces you say you've heard?
First of all, I don't think we fear the community at all. I think we stand shoulder to shoulder with the community every single day out there, and I think the community is greatly behind us because you talk about cost, but I think the true measure is value, and what value do we bring to the city? There are things that if you were to consolidate law enforcement that would no longer happen. We would no longer be in Ferry Park. There'd be nobody probably in Ferry Park. You can go and look through newspaper articles left and right about the complaint about traffic enforcement in Destin. There is so much that you give up. And the last time this went down, there was actually a charter amendment that was brought about that talks about unanimous vote of the council or a referendum to consolidate public safety because there was such pushback in the community. And I believe that community support is still there for law enforcement. There was a recent, and it's still a question mark, but I sent out, and Mr. Davis can tell you about it, a very strong message to the officers in the station that said, this is now the time to double down on our community engagement and show the community the true value of the police department at the local level. And this is not the time to pull back from the community, but this is a time to further engage the community. And I strongly believe that. I mean, I strongly believe that there is strong community support and that we never think that there's a division between us and the people that we serve in the city of Fort Walton Beach. Every single time I was called up here, and Nathan Kelly, when he was up there and sat about where Bryce Jeter sits now, would ask me, how big of a police department do we need? And I'd always tell him, as big as you want to serve your community, that I cannot provide that number to you. You love to bring up Destin. Destin is a meeting that should happen in the county commission, because I will tell you Destin is heavily subsidized by the residents of Okaloosa County. And is that something that they will provide for us? I don't know. But that is a subsidy issue. Tomorrow night, I believe, there's a meeting in Mary Esther to talk about the level of service that Mary Esther receives from the sheriff's office, and Mary Esther is not ecstatic about the level of service that they're receiving from the sheriff's office. And I'll just leave it at that.
Well, you had mentioned, thank you, you had mentioned the subsidizing. I've studied this for a number of years. Yes, I'm a county resident too. My county taxes, I pay city taxes and I pay county taxes. So when my county taxes go land up there and they fund the sheriff's department, I am funding the subsidies that you're talking about in Destin. I'm just not getting them here. I've got a 78-member police department, and I respect every one of those men and women out there. I believe every one of them would remain employed if there was a consolidation. I'm just saying the sheriff's department is providing 20 officers at $3 million for 36,000 calls. We've got 53 officers with a staff of 78 for $10 million. I think there's room there, as Mr. Schmidt had mentioned on the dispatch, there may be room there for some maintaining the quality, maintaining the staff, and still saving taxpayers' money. So that's what I think there's that opportunity there. I am disappointed in 2198, Ordinance 2198. I heard Mr. Merrill speak on an interview. Mr. Merrill, I wasn't a part of that conversation, that it was the intent of that ordinance to protect the police department, but yet in the language of the ballot measure itself, it didn't mention the police department at all, and the judge ruled it defective and misleading. So I was very disappointed that it seemed like there was an attempt to protect the police department and hide that from the voters through the ballot language. I was very disappointed in that.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned what 2198 was, because me and the mayor don't know all the ordinance numbers. And I would say with that ordinance, I was perfectly fine with the current charter language. I believe a unanimous vote of the city council or a referendum of the citizens should be the standard for if they wanted to consolidate or not consolidate any part of the city, public safety, or anything else. So I never really even gave that amendment much time or consideration. And I don't really want to hijack the city council meeting and have a one-on-one debate with you, but I would love to either have a one-on-one conversation or even a public conversation and truly debate all these issues, because you bring up excellent points that probably should come out to the sphere of consciousness and allow the citizens to truly gauge what goes on.
Well, great. I appreciate that, and I look forward to it. Moving on to the next one, litigation strategy on the amendments. I've been getting popped with question after question and full discussions of it, so I'm believing that, Mr. Burns, you're going to be probably the one that directs us on that. I've heard the stories. I've heard that we're waiting on the judge to quote release all of the votes, but then I go back to the judge's findings that they were deceptive, misleading, and hid the ball. So I can't understand myself, and that's what I'm looking for today, what this strategy is that says if the voters voted, and let's pick number 2198, it would be a part of it. I think it was the most egregious in hiding what was actually underneath it in the form of the ordinance. But if by chance the judge does release those votes, unofficial, and it shows a 2-vote majority or 500-vote majority in favor of approving 2198, as the judge said, it was misleading and hid the ball on that. So they thought that, I've come to call it the Dairy Queen. They thought they were going to vote on a Dairy Queen, but the ordinance is going to give them a Burger King. So I don't know how revealing those votes can divine a strategy that's in action. What is the strategy, Mr. Burns, for this council, and is it something we can take up today to end it?
We can't discuss pending litigation at a public meeting like this, Mr. Walker.
Okay.
If you want to discuss it, we can have a phone call outside of the council.
Strategy we can't discuss?
I cannot opine on pending litigation at this point in time.
Okay, great. Well, could you advise me or direct me on, if this body decides, if a motion is made and this body decides that we want to stop any pending litigation, this body could do that. Is that correct? We could withdraw from the litigation.
The city is the defendant, but other than that, I can't give you any public advice on litigation, Mr. Walker. If you want to talk one-on-one and then bring something back to the future meeting, that's fine.
No, what I'm looking for is legal advice to the council member as to the possible actions that we could do, because this body may choose to say, we're going to withdraw from the litigation. We want an attempt to rewrite the ballot language and put it back out there. So is that something this body could do? That's not related to the strategy of the...
The council can always vote on whatever they want to vote on, Mr. Walker.
Okay, great. I'd like to make a motion to put on the next agenda. Thank you. On the next agenda, that this body consider removing ourselves from the current litigation before Okaloosa County Judge and discuss the ways forward, whether that's to rewrite the ballot language or to remove them completely and wait for citizens to bring up by ballot initiative to us. But I'd like it on a future agenda.
You don't need a motion? You got it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all.
You got it. Councilman Browning.
I'll save mine for the end.
You got it. Councilwoman DeBerry.
Yes, I'd like to address Chief Page. I'm all in favor for the police department, and I've never dialed 911, and I met you back in 2018 when you first came here, and I know that police department's number by heart. So maybe we need some education with our public, rather than calling 911. I know that's national. 911 goes out to everyone. But maybe we can use some education. I'll be happy to help you with that.
Well, thank you. We'd love to take you up on your offer, and we try to push out the local number as much as possible. And Councilman Smith did a good job at the last council meeting of really trying to encourage people to call the local number.
Yeah. And
1546.
That's right. And they come, and they are there. And you can ask your police department, but way back whenever I first met you, whenever I was calling that number a lot, and I had the case number and the person I talked to and the police department officers that came here. And that's one of the reasons I'm sitting here now. Thank you very much. But I support you guys. So let me know whatever I can do to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Jeter.
I'll stay for the answer.
Thank you, sir. So will I. That brings us to the item that Councilman Jeter. Look, I'm sorry, Mr. Merrill.
It's okay. Usually, I'll be brief.
Hey, when there's like broken up like that.
I'll be brief. I did go on an interview and I did talk about the police, and up here I think we support the police. One of the reasons that I voted no earlier on the dispatch is because when we save money, I wasn't prepared. I would like to know what that means, what that looks like. So I think there is strong support. When I was pushing the information out there for the amendments, I spoke to a lot of people, one-on-one meetings, and I got a lot of, well, we just don't want you to have all the money to spend in the world willy-nilly. And when I would bring up examples, I use the police a lot. And they're like, well, we don't want to consolidate the police. So I believe you have your finger on the pulse of the city. The people that I talked to, even though they would support the 3% cap, it didn't correlate to what that meant to our departments, to our staff, and things like that. And nowhere did I meet in a one-on-one where they said, yeah, we want to vote for the cap because we want to consolidate the police. So that disconnect of what that means, I want you to know that the community, from what I saw, is behind the police. It's behind the city, behind departments. I just wish that there was better information out there as we're now talking about finding ways to avoid the inefficiencies coming up from the cap, and now we're starting to see like the real motivations behind what it is, and not directed at you, Mr. Schmidt. It's not. Things of consolidation and things like that. I wish that that information had been out there prior. But yes, most of all, I want you to know that you have the support of the community from what I saw, and I would support the public debate. You talking about the value versus cost with Councilman Walker. Look forward to that. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on now to the item that Councilman Jeter moved up from the earlier approval of the agenda. Item 13.1, the award of ITB 20, is that correct?
It's 13.2.
Oh, I'm sorry, 13.2. The discussion of city-owned property, the former city ball fields, approximately 1.5 acres. Mr. Davis.
Yes, so actually I was at the county meeting this morning. Mr. Coffey's here as well to listen to the county's position. Apparently this land swap has been going on long before I started here, and now it's finally starting to get some traction. But the parcel that the city owns is over by the fire department, fairgrounds area. That's what's referred to as the city ball fields. And then the county property is where the, I guess you call it Midtown, but where the hospital was over off of, was that First Street? So that the swappage there, the county property is valued a little higher, but there's some mitigation with asbestos and whatnot. So they're looking at a straight swap. And then I spoke with Mr. Burns about the process would be to label it as surplus, let it sit for 30 days. We could potentially entertain offers, but we wouldn't put it on the market. It'd be more for if somebody just wants to bid on it and overbid, like the county is overpaying, so to speak, we would look at it, but that's pretty much it. That's kind of where we're at, so.
Gotcha. And we'll certainly have Mr. Coffey available for questions if anyone would like to ask them. But we start now with questions here for Mr. Davis or Mr. Coffey, or Ms. Neighbors or anyone else in the room that you think could answer a good question about this. But let's start with questions, then we'll have a motion, and then everyone can say their piece. Any questions from the board? Councilman Walker?
Do we know, I mean, that piece of land that was up there on the corner of the Rigdon, as we sold it to the county, and we didn't sell that portion with it, and I see here that it was possibly reserved for a fire station. Do you know the history of that, why we didn't swap it back then as part of that $4 million sale? Did that come up in any of the discussions?
Outside of it was earmarked to be a potential site for the fire station, that's all I've heard.
Gotcha. And then obviously having, you know, the city, the county property down here on the hospital, off the old hospital there, do we have plans for that of any nature? Just hold it?
That would just be in our arsenal for what we want to do with it as a...
So do we know how much the remediation is? Has anybody gotten a quote on?
130, does that sound right? Ballpark? Yeah.
Ballpark. Is that based on something formal or informal? Or is that a guesstimate?
They just demolished an area right next to it, one of the properties over there, so that's where the numbers came from.
Gotcha.
The county did.
And this will be for the county. Is
Mr. Coffey, you can come on up to the...
I didn't know if he was coming up as part of it. I read through the counties this morning and saw that it looks like, so it's going to be a part of a pickleball complex for...
That's the plan I pitched the board today,
Okay.
but it's not been formally decided, but yeah.
Gotcha.
I think there's traction on that though.
Gotcha. Well, and with, you know, the uneven swap, if you will, it's going to take physical money from us to do the remediation. So, you know, I would much prefer that we receive the land without them building that we're going to have to spend city taxpayer dollars on, because we kind of own that property up there too. We'll always own it, because even though we're going to sell it to the county, we as city taxpayers pay the county taxes as well. So we're owning it either way. And so the city, in my view, the city taxpayers are getting the short end of the stick, because we're going to have to pay $137,000, $130,000 to remediate a building that y'all are about to give to us, sell to us, or transfer to us or something. And I just prefer to have if don't mind the swap, I just think it would be nice if we received it equally. With the building gone, remediated.
The property that we're potentially receiving is a higher value. That's where the wash is.
It's a bigger property too.
But it's not for sale. Neither one of them are for sale, so appraised values don't matter. I mean, it's a land swap. Y'all want our land, we want your land. It's even, except for we're going to have to come out of $130,000 of taxpayers' dollars to remediate the building. So it's a swap. It's a land swap.
I mean, we could pay the difference in value.
Yeah.
And then...
He's not being serious, Mr. Coffey.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's...
Or we could ask if they, we could also ask that they give us the land with the building gone, as they've done the other one, right?
Well,
We could ask.
I was talking to you, basically several years ago, we talked about all the different types of scenarios, trying to swap, because they really wanted all the health department property at the time, and we were trying to swap. We couldn't get rid of the health department because that would be a very expensive proposition for the county to do that. So what we tried to do is say, okay, when we get in a position and we get rid of the Council on Aging, relocate them, not get rid of them, but relocate them, maybe there's an opportunity in the future. Well, fortunately, we are able to relocate them. We're going to actually move them next week into some offices that we created for them in Shalimar. And they also went to the First Methodist Church for the kitchen. So the timing has been perfect, and that's why we're this kind of coming forward now. We actually swapped some property with you when we bought the fairgrounds. We gave you a portion of the property. Now we're talking about essentially swapping back, and that was the corner piece. And I don't remember the exact acreage. So the appraisals, the land is approximately the same dollar value. Our parcel's just bigger. We did demolish a section of the old hospital, and there was remediation. It so happened we spent about $100,000 doing the remediation, then we tore it down for about $150,000 with Job demolition, which you guys probably use as well. It was approached to us many years ago when this discussion was about being in your CRA, and that's an area you wanted to redevelop, and you were actually going to use CRA funds to demolish the structure and stuff like that. So we didn't go down that road. We just presented it the way it was discussed some years ago. There's all kinds of scenarios we can look at, but if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards. It's no urgency that we get this property. We have other options. We have a lot of other projects going on at the fairgrounds, and we're just open to whatever. We love partnering with you guys. We appreciate all the cooperation and willing to work with you any way we can. This came out of a meeting actually between a council member and one of my commissioners, and I just carried it forward based on the old stuff we talked about. So,
thank you, sir. Does anyone else have a question? Councilman Jeter.
How many years ago was it that we traded the fairgrounds property?
I want to say 2022.
That you guys bought. We were going to trade it for this property, and you guys ended up buying it. So this is a part that's left over. How much money has the county spent out there on the Rigdon Center now? The fairgrounds?
I want to say over $2 million, and we're putting forward a project to actually add a 50,000 square foot addition potentially, and another over $15 million is what we're working towards a project on.
So I think we've said up here many times, I think you would agree, it's been a lot better for our residents as the city and the county that you guys have and maintain that property, because you're able to do so much more with it than we are. On the flip side of that coin, the property that we're trading for now is an RCRA, and the city of Fort Walton Beach surrounds it. So like we've said up here for many, many years, this would give us a chance to have more control over a property that's surrounded by our city. And in the difference of the two, one could be 176 acres, 24 acres. So it may cost us a little bit of money for remediation, but as Mr. Coffey's saying, we're getting a bigger piece of property. So they kind of go hand in hand. We could say we'll pay more because we're getting more land, but then you tear the building down. So we could be paying one way or another.
And if you talk about pickleball courts, obviously there's a tourism niche there that we hope to fill, but the reality is you really have Fort Walton Beach residents or close proximity to that are going to be using it when it's not being used for the couple tournaments we have a year. So it's going to be a recreational amenity for your residents, our residents together. And I will tell you, the county, as far as the area we tore down, we're going to redevelop that parking in order to move the health department parking off there. We're going to improve the quality of our property because we haven't done a good job for you guys making our property look good. So I've told our board we got to do a better job of making sure our property looks good, and we're going to redevelop that no matter what we do as far as swap or no swap. So we are definitely going to be landscaping, adding stormwater and stuff on the northern side of that property, or the western side.
Everything you've done out there at the new Rigdon Center looks great. I can't wait to see all the future stuff you guys do out there, so thank you.
Put down flooring now. So,
anyone else with questions for Mr. Davis or Mr. Coffey?
Mayor, this is for Mr. Davis. Can you confirm it is in the CRA district, correct?
Yes.
And where I'm going with this is asking the question to kind of respond to a colleague using that CRA funding that we're obligated to improve blightiness and those kind of things, not coming from that general revenue in the outside of CRA budget, I think would really help kind of bring that information. So I'm trying to get you some support.
Just to clarify that, Tim, can we use CRA funds on a city property? So just clarification there.
There's certain rules you can, certain rules you can't. So there's some things you can do with CRA dollars on there, and so like if we wanted to go on there and build some stuff, that we cannot do. I believe we probably could use it to like demo and just get rid of the blindness. Any other stuff on that property, we would not probably be able to use the CRA dollars on. I believe we'd have to go back and verify that, but I do believe we could use the CRA dollars just to eliminate the blight.
I'm asking that question hopefully with unanimous support so that we're not just using $130,000 from general revenue pothole money that could, this needs to come from the CRA funds. If Mr. Gibson and our staff think we can use it. Give us the motion.
All right. Would anyone from the public like to speak on this item? Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, we'll let you go here later. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
Mr. Mayor, so moved to surplus the property for the former city ball fields that are unneeded for the immediate and future development use requirements of the city.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Schmidt to make the city's portion of this proposed land swap as surplus property. Any additional comments, Councilman Jeter?
No, sir.
And Mayor, I have one thing to add.
Yes,
So
sir.
what will happen is at the second April meeting, it's far enough out. I think we'll have a contract ready for the city to consider at that point in time because there's been a draft already circulated. And so that'll be ready to go at that second April meeting.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Walker, comments?
Just the bold print here on 2.12, it is recommended the city council direct Mark Bethea. Is that an addition, or is that, because I know we always have steps that have to happen when it's being surplused. Is this a change from the ordinary? It looks like it. Is that the bold print?
Correct. That'll be the next thing y'all do after y'all consider this motion.
Yeah, that's not part of this motion.
Gotcha.
Anyone else with a comment on this motion? Council, please vote. The motion does pass 6-1. Do you wish to take, council, any action tonight on the listing of that property?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to direct Mr. Bethea to only entertain offers substantially similar to what the county is offering and to inform any parties that making offers at the city has an offer from the county and the exact location of the trading the two properties in the city has intrinsic value that is not necessarily quantifiable in dollars.
Second. Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Schmidt. That was quite clear. And I don't want to repeat. Any additional comments?
No, sir.
No, sir. Council, please vote. And the motion does pass 6-1, which brings us back in time to public comments. Anyone from the public tonight wishing to comment on anything not on the agenda? Mr. Coffey, thank you for being here.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Anyone wishing to comment on something that's not on tonight's agenda, come on up to the microphone, just state your name and address. We'll give you 5 quality minutes.
My name is John Montesanti. I live in Fort Walton city limits. I like to propose readdressing the cameras, speed cameras. I just started looking at this, so I don't have enough facts really right now, but I looked at a couple of things. I'd like to know why you guys voted on it. I think there's one that didn't, and when it seems to be going in the other direction. Tampa and some of these other cities are trying to get rid of these things or modifying them to some degree. They're unfair. I question whether they're constitutional or not. I have a law degree, so I know a little bit about the law. It was mentioned before the case in Broward County, which stated it was unconstitutional. It violated procedural due process. And mainly, the burden shifts from the state to the defendant. If I were to argue that I have a vested interest, I have a ticket, but I'm not looking at it from an individual point of view. I'm not like on a vendetta against the cameras because I got a ticket. I'm just looking at it in a broad point of view, macro point of view. You're supposed to be able to face your accuser. Who am I supposed to face? The camera? You know, no one is giving me the ticket. It's just some camera. And it's on all day. That's the thing I find most appalling. All day. Most other places, like when I was in Massachusetts, it would come on in the morning when the school was getting in, maybe an hour before class, and then afterwards. This thing's on all day. Show me the merits of why it's on all day. It's a good cash cow, I'll give you that. A lot of people generating revenue. I think that's one of the motivating factors, to be honest with you. Otherwise, it would not be on all day. And again, why are these other Tampa paused it in 2025? Because of fairness and accuracy. Local magistrate called the system. I just have a few notes from as little as I looked into it. There's been 1,000% surge in citations, 1,000%. So just think of the revenue it's generating. The system's running all day instead of, like I said, maybe an hour before, an hour after. Manatee County voted to end the program in March 6, 2025. It's overly broad, it's ambiguous. You look at those signs, it's ambiguous as to what the rules are. Lights flashing, it's not flashing, it's on between such and such a time and such a time. How does anybody even know what the hell they're supposed to do? Now my ticket was on Hospital Drive. A main entrance, one of the main routes to get to the hospital. So I don't find the system to be a fair system. And here's a breakdown. I'm not sure if this is how this area is broken down. I might have picked numbers from another county, I'm not sure. But it says in this particular situation, $100 fine, $39 to the city. That's for every ticket, mind you. Just think of the revenue that's generating. $21 to the vendor. One question I would have, why was this vendor picked? Why not some other vendor? Were they vetted? $12 to the school board. I think this might be for another county because I think I was told that the city's getting a portion of this. Am I wrong?
The city does get a portion of it.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if your particular breakdown is accurate to ours, but it is similar.
And then it said $5 to a cross guard program. The hell is that? You know, $5 times thousands of tickets, that's a lot of revenue. And $3 for law enforcement training. I don't know what that is either. But anyways, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of revenue, and I think it should be readdressed again to either be eliminated, and then the meeting today that I was told the county voted to not have them on county roads. Why are they going that route? There's got to be a reason. Why do some of these other cities wanting to throw them out or at least modifying them so they're at least fair? I state it's not fair, and I think it needs to be readdressed again. Looked into, data collected, and then did the population vote on it, or was this something rammed down their throat? I don't recall seeing it on any referendum or anything. And half the times the public looks at these referendums, they're not educated on them, so they just either check it off or ignore it. So I don't recall ever being notified that there was a hearing on this. But I think it needs to be looked at again. Instead of saying, well, it was voted on, so here it is, and do nothing about it. So.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate your presentation. I would only like to add just one thing to what you said. The cameras are not on all day. They are on from 30 minutes before the start of school to 30 minutes after school is out, and the camera stays on that entire time. The speed limit during the time when the beacons are not flashing is the normal speed limit on that road. Right. If you're exceeding that speed limit by more than 11 miles per hour, you're given a ticket. Right. You also have a chance to challenge that ticket in front of a magistrate. So you would get to speak to someone face to face with a sworn officer from the Fort Walton Beach Police Department present.
Although, of course, it does.
Now,
it
again,
does
the council can certainly open debate on redoing it. Councilman Schmidt brought that up earlier tonight.
Right.
So it sounds like it will be something. So I would watch and pay attention to make sure if you want to be here to speak against it at that time, you would certainly have an opportunity to do so.
And probably have a lot more information. Sure. Now, on this, the only thing I would add to it, and I know my time's over, but is that if you do challenge it, you know, to kind of dissuade you in a way, because it could actually end up being a $250 ticket.
What do you mean?
It says here, on here, that if you challenge the ticket, which is $100, and where is it over here?
To appeal it, the county. Cost to appeal it, the county.
Yeah, it could actually be. Yeah. I mean, I've challenged one before. There was one time in Massachusetts, but there was a police that stopped me, and he said the light was blinking. I didn't recall the light blinking, so I went by the next day. The time of the infraction, the light wasn't blinking. So I said, well, somebody must have some data. It must be a standardized time it comes on and goes off. And it was at Town Hall. And the ticket was written, say, at 9:30, and the light was supposed to go off at 9. So I went to, I challenged it in court and won. How could I be written a ticket at 9:30 when the light was supposed to, because I was doing the speed limit. But if the light was blinking, it was a much reduced speed, which I got written up for. So if I think something's wrong, I'll challenge it. Not because I have a vested interest in it, because I think it's wrong. And I think these lights are wrong, and obviously some other cities and some other counties in the state feel the same way. So I think we should, as a city, readdress them ourselves.
Gotcha.
To see if we made a mistake. Putting it in the way it is, if it should be modified, eliminated, so forth. And maybe it should be on the voters should have a say-so on it, what they think about it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate your time. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on any items that are not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we will move to ordinances on second reading, and specifically starting with ordinance 2025. Mr. Burns.
And I'll do this actually for all three ordinances at once on the front end. So I'll do this for ordinance 2205, 2206, and 2207. It's just the ex parte communication colloquy. Mr. Browning, have you had any communications about any of these three ordinances with any members of the public or anyone else outside this room?
No, sir.
Mr. Berry? Mr. Jeter?
No, sir.
Mayor?
No.
Mr. Merrill?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Riley?
No, sir.
Mr. Schmidt?
No, sir.
Mr. Walker?
No, sir.
Okay, so there's been no ex parte communications on any of the three ordinances. And so we'll start with ordinance 2205. It's an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, annexing into the city limits of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, a parcel of land situated in the unincorporated area of Okaloosa County, more particularly described in the body of the ordinance, with a physical address of 353 Bill Parkway Northwest, Fort Walton Beach, Florida, provide for municipal boundary and provide for an effective date. And can you raise your right hand, Mr. Gibson? Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and but yourself to God?
I do.
Okay.
Hi, good evening, Council. Tim Gibson, Growth Management Director. So this is the second reading for the annexation on this property. We've received no input from the public since the first reading. One thing I do want to update the council on is at the last meeting it was briefed that the amount of money that we will have to pay onto the Ocean City Wright Fire Control District would have the impact on the 3% cap. In discussions afterward with Mr. Burns and Ms. Neighbors, it was discovered that since that's like a mandatory payment, it would not actually be considered under that 3% cap. Otherwise, everything remains the same on here. And if there's not any questions, staff respectfully recommends City Council adoption of ordinance number 2205 to voluntarily annex 353 Beale Parkway Northwest into the city limits of Fort Walton Beach.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson, and I would just add that I appreciate you being overly cautious in the wrong direction. That's probably the way to do it. Anyone from the council have any questions on this item? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Council, do you wish to take any action on this item?
Mayor, so move staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by three people all at once. We'll give this one to Ms. Riley to approve ordinance 2025 for the annexation of 353 Beale Parkway Northwest. Bless you, Ms. Neighbors. Any additional comments?
Yes, sir.
Council, please vote. And the motion does pass 6-1. Brings us to ordinance 2026. Mr. Burns.
Ordinance 2206, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, amending the city's comprehensive plan to amend the future land use map for 353, Beale Parkway Northwest to low-density residential LDR, providing for authority, providing for findings of fact, providing for consistency, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, and Mr. Gibson's been sworn in.
Is it? So this is just the second step in this, establishing the future land use of low-density residential. Staff does believe that is compatible with the area. Again, there's been no input or no changes to this one. And with that, unless there's any questions, staff respectfully recommends City Council adoption of ordinance number 2206 to amend the city's future land use map to designate the future land use for 353 Beale Parkway Northwest as low-density residential.
Thank you, sir. Questions for Mr. Gibson on this item? Seeing none, anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Council, do you wish to take any action?
Mayor, so moved. Staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilwoman DeBerry to approve ordinance 2206. Any additional comments?
It's awesome that they're wanting to come to the city.
Heck yeah, brother. Council, please vote. 6 agree, 1 does not. Moves us to item 11.3, ordinance 2207, Mr. Burns.
Ordinance 2207, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, provide for authority, provide for findings of fact, provide for property described as 353 Beale Parkway Northwest, more particularly described in the body of the ordinance, to be rezoned R1 single-family residential zoning district, provide for the amendment of the effective portion of the official zoning map, provide for severability, and provide for an effective date. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, second reading. Mr. Gibson will present on behalf of staff.
So this is the first stage in this. Staff did review this, believes the R1 single-family residential zoning district is appropriate here. And unless any questions, staff does respectfully recommend City Council adoption of ordinance number 2207 to designate the zoning for 353 Beale Parkway Northwest as single-family residential R1.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Questions for Mr. Gibson from the board? Seeing none, does anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? We have none. That brings us to the council. Would you like to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, so move staff's recommendation. Second.
Motion made by Councilman Merrill and seconded by Councilman Schmidt to approve ordinance 2207 on second reading. Any additional comments? Council, please vote. And it does pass 6-1. Brings us to item 12.1, appointments. Ms. Barnes.
Thank you, Mayor. Annually, we make these several appointments, and tonight, the first one on the list is Mayor Pro Tem. And on these appointments that are filled by the same person, I call them if it's up for nomination again, and ask if you're still interested in serving. So I call these first 4 positions, and Mayor Pro Tem David Schmidt is currently filling, and he volunteered to serve again. So we need a nomination, or any other volunteers are also welcome to speak up if they wish to do that as well.
So move to nominate David Schmidt.
Second. Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Walker to nominate Councilman David Schmidt as the Mayor Pro Tem. Any additional comments?
Appreciate the support.
Council, please vote. It does pass unanimously. The CRA Chair, do we have a nomination?
Same thing, currently filled by Mr. Schmidt. He also has volunteered to serve on that one as well, and it's also open for other volunteers.
So move to nominate Councilmember David Schmidt.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilwoman DeBerry to nominate Councilman David Schmidt to be our Community Redevelopment Agency Chairperson. Any additional comments?
Yes, sir. He is the second best chair in this room, so it's fitting that he gets to do it.
The only better one is the ones we're all sitting in. Council, please vote. It does pass unanimously.
Who did the second?
DeBerry.
I did.
They work together.
That brings us to CRA Vice Chair.
Mayor, so moved nomination for Mr. Brown for CRA Vice Chair.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Merrill to nominate Councilman Logan Browning to be the Community Redevelopment Agency Vice Chair. Any additional comments? Council, please vote. Does pass unanimously. Council, do we have a nomination or volunteer for the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee?
I nominate Councilmember Ben Merrill.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Browning, seconded by Councilman Jeter to nominate Councilman Ben Merrill to fill the vacancy on the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. Any additional comments? Seeing none, Council, please vote. Councilman Merrill, you are unanimously approved. That brings us to item 12.5, the Florida League of Cities voting delegate for the August conference, Ms. Barnes.
Okay, this one is a little different. This is not a year-long service process. It's a one-time event. So last year, we made one appointment, served, and so that position's kind of over. So now with the conference coming up in August, we need an appointment there. In the past, it was typically the mayor, because the mayor was attending.
I'd be glad to do it.
Okay, all right.
Does he have to physically be there?
Yes.
I'll gladly physically be there.
So moved, is he a nomination? So moved to nominate Mayor Allegretto.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilwoman Riley to approve me, Mayor Nick Allegretto, to the Florida League of Cities as the voting delegate for the August conference. Any additional comments?
You always represent us so well. Go do it again.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you for stepping out there.
You got it. Council, please vote. And it does pass unanimously. Brings us to item 13.1, our final barn burner for the evening. The award of ITB 25-010 and the Liza Jackson Park improvements. Mr. Payne.
Mayor and Council, tonight before you have an item related to Liza Jackson Park. As you know, Liza Jackson Park is a city waterfront park located on the western edge of the city on Highway 98. This couple, at least one council ago, a couple city managers ago, this is stuff that has started before that we're obviously trying to finish. So back in 2023, it was a directive to look at park improvements, and there was a partnership and some talks with the county too and that's kind of what spurred this on. Now, we went through design of the new park, improvements for parking over that time period, and we had finished that later last year. And in this fall, we put out ITB 2510 for the park improvements. Now, those park improvements consisted of a new restroom building, revamped boat trailer parking, stormwater improvements, vehicle parking, and then a new boat ramp that we wanted, but since that required core permitting, and that permit has been in for over a year, there has been no progress on it. We keep checking on it, but just like everybody else that gets involved with the Corps on some of that subsurface stuff, we just haven't received it yet. Instead of just sitting and waiting like we did with the landing 5 years later, we decided to at least, with the upland improvements, we can go ahead. Hopefully they cut loose with the permit, while we're there, and we could get pricing on that end. But this scope of what we have here does not include the dock and boat ramp itself, but includes everything above that. So in November of this year, we issued ITB 2510, held a pre-bid meeting, mandatory pre-bid meeting in December. through the holidays. We went through, there was multiple addendums that we had for questionings. Those are all attached. And then in January, mid-January, that bid opening happened. There was lots of clarifications and items that we wanted our purchasing staff to go through and detailed, and questions that we had that came up. So, you know, the final opening that we had was on February 17th. And H&T Contractors of Freeport, Florida had the lowest responsive bid that we had saw, and checked through with our purchasing division on that side. We also, since we were creeping into February, March, we had a 180-day time frame on that bid, but due to a lot of those addendums, we were just pushing it really close. And we figured the last thing we wanted to do was tear up the boat ramp and everything and the parking right before Memorial Day. Memorial Day and all summer. So purchasing did check. Nicole's staff, they're great. They checked to see if anybody would hold their pricing till August 1st, so we don't have to start on anything through the summer. We know that that ramp and that parking serves a role during the summer for West County and everything else. So, you know, we do have a notice to proceed expected to be August 1st, 2026, which would be this year. The total price was $3,139,269.93. That amount that we have is expected to be funded from the CRA restricted fund balance, and that fund balance right now totals approximately $4.8 million. And also we have a commitment, I do believe, from the county for $1 million on that end, as well as us finalizing some of them reimbursement from the landing as well. Having said all that, you know, the recommendation is to award bid number 2510 for Liza Jackson Park improvements to the lowest responsive bidder, meeting all specifications, H&T Contractors of Freeport, Florida, in the amount of $3,139,269.93, and to authorize the city manager to approve all project change orders up to 10% of the bid amount. With that, I'll do my best to answer any questions anybody may have.
Thank you, Mr. Payne, for an excellent presentation. Anyone with questions on this for Mr. Payne? Do we have anyone at all? Anyone? I guess there's no one. Councilman White.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Thank you. I always love these background ones because they let me go back and see what we did when and what we said and everything else. So I did go back and look then, and I know there was some, the September 23 meeting showed a proposed exit up there on the north side, on the west side of the property there, that showed a proposed exit, and then today on the finals, proposed finals, there's not one there. So did that die a permitting death, a state death, or how did that die?
I think some of those initial stuff, like a lot of times, you know, when we put some stuff in there, we get like an original, like a rendering or kind of like stuff that we get. But yeah, things from the time when something is conceptually looked at, I say a pretty picture or napkin sketch, to design, to permitting, both through DOT and everybody else, it does change a little bit on that end, depending on their comments and requirements on that side. I don't know where exactly it changed, but through the process.
Yeah, because, you know, looking at it, when they pull out of the boat launch and they're going due north, that would take them straight out onto 98 where they could have a right turn. So now they're going to have to take a pretty sharp turn around. I think it's that real sharp turn up on the north side, and then coming down before you turn back out into the traffic lane to get you out of the park. What do you recall what length truck and trailer you had there making that turn? That thing looked really tight, almost like a U-turn.
Where, I'm sorry, where at again?
On, you know, so as you're going to leave the park, you've pulled out of the boat launch, so you're going north. You're going to go up there and hang that right around that turn. I'm not looking at it, I'm just remembering. And then you come back down south before you turn left to go those 2 lanes that go back up north to 98. What is the turn radius there? It looks like somebody's going to be running all over that median there, that island. Do you remember the length that you count?
What the designer has radius-wise, I don't know. I know that the connection is permitted through DOT, and they have some of those requirements, but we can obviously take a look at that and see if...
Yeah, not up on 98 itself, but when you know, like if you come in from 98, go south, like that first where you could turn right into the parking lot, but they're going to be actually coming out of it. Man, that looks tight for those, I don't know, 40, 50 foot, definitely 50 feet worth of, 30-foot boat and trailer and a truck's going to put you at 50 feet. That's going to be a sharp U-turn. So I don't know. I was curious there. And I guess the last question is the bathroom going to be elevated?
Yeah, it has to be.
That's down in the swampland.
Yes. So elevation-wise dictated, I think you guys have, we've been a part of this council where we've approved some prefab things that kind of dropped in place. Obviously, that's kind of what we would have liked to do, but because of the elevation, we had to be higher, so you have a raised bathroom. It's kind of like nothing we can really do about that on that end.
Gotcha. And last comment, not a question, was just because I went back and looked at it, I guess I'll make a suggestion today that we no longer use the word estimate up here from council, that you just say it's just a wild guess, because we said it would be $2 million, and now we're at 3.5, including the design, and does not include the boat launch. So
that's correct.
We're not good at estimating up here.
I mean, the market's always going to dictate it. That's correct.
Yeah.
I'm always hesitant to give a number because it...
Well, there was one in the minutes, and it said $2 million.
Yeah. I mean, I think...
23, September of 23.
Yeah.
So, anyway, thank you, Mr. Payne.
Anyone else with questions for Mr. Payne on this? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
Mayor, so move staff's recommendation.
A motion made by Councilman Schmidt and seconded by Councilwoman Riley, I believe, to accept staff's recommendation, which is
Authorize the award invitation to bid number 25-010 for Liza Jackson Park improvements to the lowest responsible bidder meeting all specifications. H&T Contractors, LLC of Freeport, Florida, in the amount of $3.139269.93, and to authorize the city manager to approve all project changes orders up to 10%.
Appreciate that, my guy. You're welcome. Anyone wish to comment on this motion? Councilman Jeter.
I would definitely support the motion. I would also just like to say thank you to Mr. Payne and many of the boards and councils that have been here before us that have gone to the county and gotten $1 million to partner on this project and have stayed with it over all the years. It's been, like I said, a few different boards up here that have supported this the whole time. So it's good to see it finally come to fruition. So thank you for staying with it. Thank you for everybody who supported it before us.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Councilman Schmidt.
To echo what Mr. Jeter mentioned, and also too, as the county irons out, and this is nothing that we need to discuss now, but y'all know I'm a big fan of proposals. I'm trying to find ways we can get revenue. But as the county irons out that fee for service or fee for parking and launching, I think we're discussing as we speak for out-of-county residents. I would strongly advocate for, as this contract starts and the work starts after August and as we get into summer 2027, finding ways to fund the future maintenance and fund these things through that fee for, that user fee type model for out-of-county boat launchers and out-of-county partners that are impacting our boat launches and those U-turns that Mr. Walker mentioned that are going to be crushing the medians, that kind of stuff. So support this, and thank you, Danny, for all the work you did to get this point.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Council, please vote. And it does pass 6-1. That brings us to item 14, City Manager Reports. Mr. Davis.
Short and sweet this week. One, got our audit results back this week, and the finance team dominated life. It was a flawless audit, so cool for them.
Nice.
Growth management, we got some high fives. Jessica passed some super hard tests, and Kelsey has been promoted to the section supervisor of the planning, so cool there. Mr. Coffey left, but just so you know, that good partnership with the county. I was bugging him today about the Liza Jackson, and they're gonna work with us. They don't, in the sense that we don't have to wait till all the work's done to get refunded. They're gonna give us some deliverables and work with us on the funding as well, so that's pretty cool. I probably will be approaching council this week, next week, on a revised pause contract that will include next year, but trying to lock in the rates that we have this year for next year, so just working on a few things, so I hope to have that wrapped up tomorrow. And for some reason I wrote down trash and I don't know why, so we'll end there.
I got a few ideas. You good though?
Yeah, thank you.
City attorney reports.
Nothing back there.
Thank you, sir. Final council comments, I believe we started with Ms. Riley. All right.
Sustain.
Councilman Schmidt.
Yeah, that manager report, good stuff on just that relationship you have with Mr. Coffey. Those don't always make, conversation or get disclosed too much, but that's a lot of money saved and a lot of things that can help make things more effective and more efficient. But on another note, I want to kind of just encourage the paradigm to shift up here. I know there was some comments that weren't directed to me, but maybe I just received it as they were. But I don't ever think because I discuss consolidation, I don't have trust in law enforcement. We have consolidated services underneath our current chief's leadership, whether it's a special tactics team or other things like that. And I would bet to say that he also trusts his team and those things. When I'm looking to explore these different things, sometimes the response up here is, are you disappointed in the staff? And from a leadership standpoint, this board, I've had conversations with our staff's leadership about this topic. It's not like I just come up here and say, hey, let's throw this out there and see what sticks. Research and time has been spent discussing this topic. So, Mr. Davis mentions regularly at different job categories, people watch these meetings and it impacts their morale, and I'm sensitive to that. And I'm at these meetings getting volunteered to do this and missing my kids' basketball games and things like that. So we're all sacrificing and everyone's livelihood is going on, but it's not anything to do with lack of trust with law enforcement. It's very similar to just wanted y'all to be informed that services have been consolidated administratively without board's approval because for whatever reason they thought that was the best thing to do. I don't ever want any dispatch person, any law enforcement person watching this ever think that I'm trying to cut them out. We also heard tonight that when the city received a proposal in 2019, the county was paying a couple more dollars an hour. So if anything, hopefully they see that and they can get paid more. But I just want to change our paradigm up here that, whether it's not the back and forth in a toxic way, but whether it's, Mr. Walker mentioned Mr. Merrill on an interview and Mr. Merrill's, Facebook Live and these kind of things, not much action is going to get done to develop our current challenges in that manner. I'm trying to bring some action to bring development to our challenges so that we can iron things out. May it not be the best way to do it, I don't know, but there's no better place in here to discuss those things and to take action when that red light's on. So I just want to make clear, it's not anything, Chief, with your team that I don't trust or I don't value. I know you go to work every single day trying to improve morale, whether it's educators or law enforcement people or any industry. It's tough to motivate a workforce, and I respect that. But these are board decisions and business decisions that are made that impact people's lives, and that's just part of doing business. So I have full support for all of our staff members. I appreciate what they do, and sometimes I want to encourage our city leadership when business meetings are had here and they ask questions to the city manager, to the department directors, I just want to encourage our leadership that it doesn't need to be coffee pot conversation about all the business meetings that happen up here. CEO has it, he marches with orders and moves forward, encourages his team to do the things, but continue to redirect conversation around the coffee pot, and I'm sure we're doing a great job, but we don't need to have continuous conversation with multiple subordinates about the concerns of what the political climate is and things like that, because that's not going to help anything. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Walker.
I had one thing until Councilman Schmidt spoke. Now I've got a few. And to you, Mr. Mayor, I know that, and I think it was to Mr. Davis, I am fasting social media from last week until Good Friday, and it has been, what a blessing it's been in my life. I'm sure it's been a blessing in yours, to some of you, and so...
Hey, you can make this a permanent change if it feels good.
I'm going there, man. I'm liking it. I'm really enjoying it.
What the Lord wants, Penny.
What's it? Mysterious ways.
That's right.
Gotcha. So I'm enjoying that, and I know you guys are too. Chief, I'm hearing David there. I think back onto the day that I was, probably the days after I was elected, and Ms. Barnes and you and the city manager at the time all called us into the office, and we met and we spoke, and I shared some things with you guys back then that were my personal goals, and I didn't know either one of you much at that time, and I said, I've got some goals and they're not personal, and it remains that way. I like the Chief. I really appreciate everything you do, Chief. We always have good conversations. I appreciate the invite for a public debate or discussion. I'm excited about that because I know it is a part of an education campaign. I'm going to be wrong on some things. I'm going to be out of line on some things, but I might be right on some things too. And if it helps the community understand me, because better and you better, that's great. I support the police. I support that's there. Can we do it better, more efficiently? I think so. But that's where we can have that discussion and see where it comes. So I really appreciate that offer there. That's great. Along those lines, and it's back to part of that goal that I shared with you two in the beginning, and I think we can see it locally for sure, statewide, and nationally. We the people are really sick of outstanding, tremendous, skyrocketing government spending. We're all part of it. I'm a part of it. I've been a part of it. But the people are tired of it, and it's hard on us. And so when people show up at this podium and ask for taxpayers' money, and meanwhile they've got $1 million in revenue and pay their CEO $130,000 a year, I'm not keen to giving those people taxpayers' money, because I feel like I'm a defender up here of taxpayers' money. So I appreciate the swimming pools. I appreciate what the chamber does, but that doesn't mean that I want the taxpayers to give their hard-earned money. There's people out there struggling. Single mom, single dad, single grandparent, people just struggling to make their own ends meet, and to turn around and tell them we got to take $100,000 from the kiddies so that we can, give it to people that are doing quite well on their own. I just can't do that, and I'm opposed to it, and continue my last days up here doing that. Last question I have, I think, Mr. Davis, is just a simple one. I think I missed it in a previous meeting, but I did get a call questioning it. That Sail Watch demo, was it Sail Watch? Is that what it's called down there back behind Ollie's? What's that place called? Steamboat landing or whatever was back there. And it happened.
I'm sorry, I thought you said all these.
Sorry, no. And I know it came up in the CRA, and I wasn't here at that meeting, but as part of that demo, was there a lien placed on that property for their non-compliance of dilapidated building and non-upkeep of property? Was there a lien? Was there any notifications of violations?
So I think you're mixing issues slightly.
Okay.
There is liens and fines on the building for code. Okay. But if you're asking about the demolition, I don't know if we're placing a lien or not for the demolition of the structure.
So I think, I'm guessing what you're asking here, no different than we did with the homes that came into compliance with the code enforcement. The discussion I had with the special magistrate through Mr. Burns was, let us clean this up and we'll waive the liens just so we can get this disaster removed from.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
I'm not sure, just, welcome back. I'm not sure there's any liens on the property. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I don't recall there being any, but I don't know, but that was part of the deal, so we could get it moving before hurricane season.
If there are liens, they'll have to, whoever buys the property, because it's currently being sold right now, would have to come in front of the council to request that any liens that have been filed get removed. But I don't think there's been any liens, at least since we've been on the case.
Sure. So within days, it's my understanding that it's under contract as well. Within days of the city agreeing to spend the money to demolish it, it goes under contract for sale. So, the parties could have easily come together without expending taxpayers' dollars to, we might not have known it up front, but it just seems like we would have had some liens in place for the blight that it has been. But that was my only question. We don't know if there are any liens. Do we know the cost of demoing it? What it
was? Ballpark plus or minus 150. The magistrate did reach out, I want to say last Friday, to see if we would include the pier or dock or whatever they have in the back end. I haven't personally seen it. So I pulled the contract back Monday this week and said, add a line that says with or without the dock. If it's $2,000, fine. If it's $25,000, probably we'll punt on that.
So 150 to demo it for them?
That was the presentation that Alyssa gave several months back. That was the quote that she had.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
But it's going back out, so I don't know if that's going to be the final number.
Oh, so it's not been demoed yet? I haven't been back there.
So that was the number we got last year when we started looking into this, but then we had to navigate the special magistrate process.
Right.
Assuming that number holds, that it was about 150.
And at this point, we don't know if they're owing any of that back to us as part of the, the transfer of the sale.
Again, and I would probably bring that before council, saying, hey, we've come into compliance now, just like we've done with all the others. Now that being said, going forward, maybe it's not a good idea to give away our revenue, but it's a thought.
Well, it's just, it's that. It seems like the one I remember, there was a gentleman over there had the blue roof, and there was some not demo, but there was some cleanup that they came in and we paid to get it cleaned up. And I think the fines were removed, but not the cost of cleanup, but I don't recall. Jeff, you might recall that one more, but I thought the cost of the cleanup stayed, not the fines and penalties, because it came into compliance. But we paid several $1,000s to a company that went in there and removed or hauled off stuff in there. So I kind of felt like it would have been appropriate there, but it's already in the books. I was just trying to figure out, did we have any money on them for that $150,000 free cleanup for them?
The CRA board voted on this.
Right, yeah. Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Browning.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Councilwoman DeBerry.
I have something. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Jeter.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Merrill.
I am all good.
I am too. Let's go. Get out.
Thank you.
I almost said